Oh, that is a nice copper coin. But oh, Doug, do you know what time it is?
45 up.
Who says 45 up, Doug? It's quarter after. It's 45 of. It's quarter after. Welcome, everybody. We took off last week. Last Thursday was Halloween. I like to go watch the kids come to the door, so I didn't do the show, but we are back. And I think we're going to be back for maybe 6 weeks in a row before we take a little Christmas break. Got some big guests coming up, some big fun surprises shows. So I'm glad everyone was able to make it. Let me do a couple of quick hellos. I see Dennis White, Mark Waitross. Well, that's a new name. How are you, Mark? Big Wave Digging Life, Jay Diggs History, Doug Baden Hop, Yody's Finds, Crazy Digging, Teresa the Treasure Hunter, and Hot Mess Fishing. Two of my favorite moderators. Thank you both for popping in and helping out. Stuart Justice, Raymond Jones, who I saw Doug or Diggs with our guest tonight. So welcome, Raymond, who I believe found a gold coin with Mr. Charles Harley in England, if I'm not mistaken. Turd Ferguson, always great to see Turd. Dirt Trolling Troy, how are you? J Diggs History, Rick Rorig, Dirty Paws Detecting, BB Detecting. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for showing up and hanging out with us tonight. Wendy Olson, I see you down there, Wendy. But let's bring in the guy with the brand new laptop just to do this show, Mr. Dog Tag Doug, Mexican Doug.
Yeah, as soon as the show's over, I'm going to take it back and get my money back.
You know, anyone who's been watching the show, every week Doug has some sort of an issue and then he reconnects with his cell phone. We were trying to figure it out, and then Doug said, heck with it, went out and bought a brand new laptop just to do this goofy thing that we do.
Yeah, but I'm not allowed to touch any buttons or anything.
No, he's not allowed to touch. Oh, Steph Diggs is here. We're going to see Steph next weekend, Doug.
Yeah.
She's like, I just saw her. But
Are we going to see her?
Well, I just saw her when I went up to New England for the weekend, but you didn't go. You weren't able to make it. Right.
She was in this week's video, actually.
Yeah, and a little bird tells me she might be in next week's video, Doug.
Oh, okay.
Little bird told me.
Oh, that's right. You have a part 2.
Oh, I think part 2 is better than part 1. Not
Usually
only
the sequel isn't. So, whoa.
And
look at that super chat.
Oh, Tyler James. How are you, Tyler? He found a British Quebec embroidered military War of 1812 button in Maine last week.
Nice.
Makes you wonder how it got there. Yeah, I mean, let me read it again. Hold on. Oh, embodied, not embroidered. That didn't make any sense.
Embossed?
Maybe, I don't know what embodied means, but I know what a War of 1812 military button is.
Right.
So thank you, Tyler. Congratulations, and thanks for the super chat.
Before you go any further, you said you took off last week because you wanted to watch the kids come up begging for candy.
Yeah, last Thursday, yes.
Yeah, I was happy that we had the night off because I was out mugging kids for candy.
Yeah, you're a sucker for a Snickers bar.
That's right.
I had a bet with my wife. We always bet how many kids are going to show up at the door, and I'm paranoid to run out of candy, so I always overbuy. So the over under was 50 kids, which I thought was a low over under. So I took the over. Guess how many kids we had, Doug?
48.
51. We actually kept a tally next to the door.
Eric Thompson.
Eric Thompson. He's cheap. He's getting his swinging arms ready. Yeah, we're going to be digging with Eric next weekend and Steph. I think Nickel is going. Our whole group is going. Eric's got like 6 or 7 colonial properties lined up. Man, we're going to have one heck of a good time next week.
Is Brad going to be there?
Now, Brad's still feeling under the weather. He's afraid to travel too far.
Yeah.
So I think he's still trying to keep it close to the house. But
maybe Steph will bring us some good luck on that pine tree shilling.
Oh, man, I hope any of us are fine. I'm just excited to find anything. It's going to be one heck of a good weekend. And talking about a good weekend, Doug, let me bring in real fast Mr. Charlie, the Heritage Relic Hunter, because you had a good weekend at an event this past weekend. Where were you, Charlie?
We were in North New Brunswick, New Jersey, the Dig It Dude event, which
Dig
was
It Dude 2, right?
Dig It Dude, yes.
Yeah, the second one. How was the turnout? How was everyone that was there?
It was fantastic. I had a great time, and my wife was there also. She helped out. Judy was there, and everyone found some great stuff there. It was great. Great weekend.
Yeah, it's a good group of people that go. I was able to go last year. I wasn't able to go this year, but really nice group. You know, it's a lot of the core people every time.
Yeah,
it also
Audra,
does the come out swinging.
Dawn,
yeah,
Bobby
Dawn and
Buddha.
Shelly and Audra and
Yeah.
Bobby Buddha and there's a whole bunch of them. And your wife, she comes out, she helps. It's her only metal detecting cameo of the year is at that event.
Yeah. The weather got a little cool. It was a beautiful farm. It was very nice. It was a great weekend. I had a lot of fun. I want to shout out to Xavier, young man that was there, and he did pretty good for a kid. And shout out to a young female, Dylan, her name is. She wasn't there, but her grandpa was there. And Dylan watches your show.
Oh, okay.
He's about maybe 11, 12 years old, I believe, from what I saw.
Was Dylan hunting?
No, she wasn't there, but the grandpa was there.
Okay, yeah. I do remember Xavier. We've bumped into him a few times. We were talking about before the show.
Right.
Nice young man. He's a good detector. Remember all the silver he found last time we saw him, Doug?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So well, I actually gave him what I found. He was looking at my stuff. I said, "You may have it. Enjoy it. Just remember the great day that we had here at Dig It Dude." So,
yeah. Well, talking about showing your finds to people, I'm going to bring in Rich Van Winkle and Lindiana Jones. I didn't mean to keep him in the back that long. How are you guys?
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
I actually
before the guest comes on, we got about 7 minutes before Mike Great Finds comes on. I try to get everybody settled in. But Lynn, you were at a show last weekend, and you had a few people come up to you, which is always nice to hear.
I did. I had I got recognized twice. One by somebody who saw your promotion.
Yeah, right
there.
There
She is.
Her name was
Tammy.
Tammy.
Right. And she saw, when you promoted the show and came to meet me. And then I was in a crowd at another antique show. I wasn't doing it. I just went to it. And a couple came up to me and recognized me, but they didn't want their picture taken. So I don't have.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Did you have any more signed photos?
I don't. So I couldn't give one to Tammy. I felt really bad. So.
Well, I'll if Tammy emails me, I'll mail her one. I do have more, but I forgot to bring them last weekend, so I'll bring them this weekend.
Do you have her address, Lynn?
No, she doesn't usually comment, so I was hoping maybe she would if she heard us talking about her. Maybe she can email Jason and you can send her a picture.
Yeah, I'll mail her one if we can come up with her address. I see Doug in the chat. Dean Withrow, the history hunter.
Yeah,
who was in the video last week and will be in it next week.
Hello.
That guy finds some stuff, doesn't he?
Oh, that guy is like he's like Rich.
He's like Rich.
Yeah.
Yeah, except for I was there.
What'd you say? He's like Rich on hemorrhoids?
He always now, and I'll give him credit. When we pulled out of there the one day, the skies opened up. It was pouring rain. I mean, so hard you couldn't see your hand. And everyone left and driving out. Dean's still out there.
Yep.
Hunting, finding stuff when everyone else took off. So, the squeaky wheel gets the oil, or whatever the analogy is.
And once you get to a certain point of being wet, it's just like,
yeah, you don't care anymore.
I'm here.
I don't care anymore. Scott Cash is in there in the chat, Doug, one of our Missouri friends. And talk about the Missouri friends. I don't know what happened, but I saw a picture online of Mitch that looked like he was in a car accident or something. He was in a hospital bed. He was bloodied. I messaged Renita. I don't know what happened.
Really?
I don't want to put his business out in our live chat, but I do want to say, man, I'm wishing Mitch, Renita, and all our Missouri friends nothing but the best. And
well, when we left him, when we saw him at Kodaha, Doha, he had a real bad hand problem, And you said this is something other than.
This was something that, yeah, look, Show Me Treasure in there. Chris just said, yeah, he was in a bad car wreck.
Oh, man.
He looked bad. Renita told me he broke some ribs. Had to get stitches on his face. I mean, I'm happy he's okay, she said, but it must have been a rough going. So,
well, we wish the best to him.
Go out to the Barks family.
And did you say Scott is in the chat? Scott Cash?
In the chat. Yeah, I saw Scott in the chat. Scott Cash, who was another of our extended family.
He and Martha. Yep.
Yeah, good group down there. 7:26, Doug. I'm going to bring in our guest. I do see him in the green room. I'll bring him in a few minutes. Great Finds, who, listen, he doesn't only find Civil War stuff. I just like to preface that because we don't find a lot of Civil War stuff. So to me, that's really extra exciting because he finds things that we don't. But he does find Rev War stuff also. And he lives right outside or maybe even in Gettysburg, which, I mean, if you're a Civil War fan, that might be one of like the primo areas to live and hunt in.
Yeah.
So we're going to get to Skinny when he comes in 3 minutes. Mark LaCroix, our good friend from New England. How are you, Mark?
LaCroix.
Is that how you say it? LaCroix?
LaCroix.
I didn't pronounce it LaCroix, so I'm halfway there. D Technician is in there. Smoking Louie. How are you, Smoking Louie? Vets Digs Beeps, our good buddy who has the P-cord lanyards. We're going to be giving one away. I'm working on a big Christmas live stream episode where we might have all sorts of prizes and a Santa Claus feel. So there'll be more word on that as it gets closer. And I got to try to squeeze Rich into that Santa Claus suit. I bought a 5X.
Yeah.
Oh, because I'm the only one with a beard? Is that why?
That's why.
Rich, do you mind dyeing your beard white just for that month?
I'm okay with it.
All right, he's a team player, Doug.
Yes.
Or just let's give Doug a month to grow a beard.
Wow.
It'll be white.
I am not getting in a Santa Claus suit. I can tell you that.
Hey, you guys.
You did get a lot of compliments, Doug, when you had the goatee, the big, thick, white goatee.
Yeah.
I think,
look good in anything.
Oh, Clad Warrior. Thank you, Clad Warrior. No comment, but I appreciate you being here. And
it's just when I don't have anything on, I don't look good.
Yeah, I don't know why you got rid of that. I will say, though, that I think it was hurting your permission ability. People, you looked a little more gruff, a little more tough guy.
Yeah.
And so we had to all hold Doug down and we shaved it off.
It was either that or the sidearm I was carrying. I don't know.
Oh, Clad Warrior found his first 3-cent piece. Did you find the silver version or the nickel version? I'm going to guess he found the silver version. The nickel version is very tough.
Hard to find.
It just sounds terrible too. So most people don't dig the nickel version sound.
I can't wait to find either one of them.
Oh, you don't have a silver chime yet?
Nope.
Oh, I've been posting Facebook pictures. I try to put one up every day now. I'm really invested in it. And tomorrow's picture is a nice one that features some of my 3-cent silver chimes. I didn't realize you didn't find one, so I didn't do it to rub it in. It's just
well, I'm not on Facebook, so joke's on you.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're not on there. Well, good, because I have some really embarrassing pictures of you coming up.
Yeah, but I am, so I can.
Oh, that's right. Just don't tell him. Don't tell him.
No.
All right, Doug. I'm going to bring in our guest, Doug. Now I don't know him personally. I've only met him once for a hot minute in the field, but I watched some of his videos. I know he's a nice guy. I've been texting him all week. Super friendly, so I can't wait to get to know him. So I'm going to say, Doug, welcome our new friend, Mike Hollowell from the YouTube channel, Great Finds. Let me bring you in full screen. Hold on. Don't say anything yet, Mike. Don't say anything. Now you may talk.
Hello.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir. You sound good.
All right, good. Sorry I didn't get in for the sound check when I wanted to. I didn't realize I had to re-download StreamYard because I had it in my old phone and this is my new phone. So
okay.
I was getting really nervous right there at the beginning. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I got it done. So
Well,
Yeah.
as a backup plan, if you didn't come in, I was going to have Charlie drive to your house and just use his phone instead. Yeah, Charlie's
Or
a team player.
Doug got him a new laptop, so I could have used that, I guess.
Yeah.
So how you been, man? Like I said, we've only met that I recall once in I think it was in an event, and you know when you're at an event, like you're all over the place. So we didn't really get to catch up. But you were on my radar of someone I know you're in the area. Would have loved to have got together. I know you find some really good Civil War stuff out there. So for other people that may not be familiar with you, give us a little background, who you are, what you do, and what got you into this hobby that we all love.
All right. I live in South Central Pennsylvania, Gettysburg, Chambersburg area. If nobody's familiar with that, I'm probably about an hour south of Harrisburg. I don't know if you know where that's at, Jason.
I think everyone in this room is familiar with Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Well, what happened was, I'll tell you how I kind of got started in metal detecting. A place I lived in 2009, 2010, I was in the backyard one day. We had just moved in there, and I was just out messing around the backyard. I saw some old bottles sticking out of the ground. It was like a dump back there. It was an older house. And so I started digging a little bit, and I started finding bottles, and I thought, you know what, I ought to get a metal detector and start hunting the yard. So this was back in, like, I think it was 2009. So I didn't want to spend a lot, so I went and got me just like a bounty hunter machine. I spent, $150. It's better to do that than start out with something real expensive, and started finding stuff, and I kind of got hooked on it ever since then. I mean, I looked for arrowheads and things like that as a child. As a matter of fact, I could go ahead and show you my first one. Just a second here. I was probably about 10 years old when I found this arrowhead.
Oh, look at that, Rich.
The point's missing
cool.
off of it. I grew up in the state of Indiana, and me and my brother were out just picking up rocks in the field and throwing them at an old schoolhouse that was there, and I happened to pick that up. It was an accidental find.
Is that
about 10
Jasper?
years. I don't even know what that is. It's got like a butterscotch color to it, but it's a big one.
Yeah,
It's either
like
Jasper or Chert, and it's
Okay.
it might not even be missing too much. It might have been sharpened down.
Okay. Wow.
I like
But
it.
it's a good size.
I like the ones that are not transparent, because to me they're just like a denser, creamier color. They're more appealing to my eye.
Yeah. That's one. That was when I was a kid. I'm in my 40s now, so I've had this a long time. But I seen people metal detecting next door there at the schoolhouse, but I never thought about doing that. But anyway, in 2009, 2010, I started metal detecting. I've done it off and on for probably about 9 years, and then in 2019, I really started doing it a lot more heavily. Maybe a little sooner than that, 2018. So I had purchased a Garrett machine like everybody else probably started out with something like that. It was more of a more medium-sized machine. It was,
you're
for the
making the
medium.
progression.
Right. It's how you kind of do it. I've had several other ones. I've had Fisher. I've had a little bit of everything. But yeah, that's how I got going in it. And then I met Bo kind of through, I don't know if you know Jocelyn and Drew.
Yeah, I know both.
Yeah, so I know them both. I've been in some of her videos. I haven't recently, but I used to go to the Goodwills with them sometimes, and do some looking for stuff in the Goodwills. They don't live very far from here. And then I met Aquachigger through kind of them. I seen him at a show. I was at Gettysburg, and we met and we talked and we hit it off really well. That was about 5 years ago now, and ever since then, we just been hunting a lot together. So
yeah,
I have a lot of people I hunt with.
He's like your main digging partner, it seems.
Yeah, I'd say he pretty much is. We just hit it off really well. I hunt with, there's a guy in the chat right now. His name's Ron, the Spectre, the Detector. I know him really well too. He's a good guy.
Okay,
he knows Chick too.
I've seen him in some of your videos this week when I was watching them.
Yeah, thanks for watching, Jason. But yeah, me and Chick, we just have a good collaboration together. Like this last week, he got invited to a ghost town in western part of Maryland. It was a 2-hour ride up, and he felt like having some company, so he texted me and said, "Hey, you want to go?" So we got up early in the morning and rode up there and had a good day. And he's wanting to go again this Saturday. right now it's kind of hard sometimes for the wife to let me get out too much. So, yeah, I'm wanting to go again, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, that's mainly my background. I also have I work for myself. I've been a reseller online for probably 5 years now.
What
I
do
go to
you
state.
specialize in with the reselling? What's your forte?
Well, anything I can make money on, I should say, but I do specialize in like primitives and antiques and things like that.
Oh, primitives! Do you see right? Let me real fast, Mike. You might not be familiar with us, so if you don't know the gang, up at the top it's Dog Tag Doug.
Yeah, I watch you guys. Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to presume.
No, it's
Charlie,
okay.
Howard Relic Hunter, and then right above me, Rich Van Winkle and Lindiana Jones.
Yep.
Now, Lynn, I would say, is probably in the top 1% of primitive collectors, maybe in the whole world. If you saw Lynn's house, your jaw would like slam on the ground and you'd have to go to the dentist. So if you have primitive stuff, Lynn will be your best friend because she lives for that stuff.
Let me ask her this: does she ever? I always look in the like sides of the road for free stuff sometimes, and I find some really good stuff people throw out. It's amazing what people like. Let me show you something. She'll enjoy this piece. It's not extremely old, but somebody just put it out to the side of the road because it had some chips and a few cracks in it.
That's how I found Doug. He had a few chips and cracks. He was on the side of the road. I picked him up.
Oh,
it's
okay.
It's
water cooler.
Yeah, it's got
someone threw that away.
It does have a hairline crack here and a little chip in the lid, but for free you can't beat that to be on the side of the road.
No, absolutely not.
Oh, they turned it into a keg.
Well,
it was made that way.
Oh, it was made to be tapped?
Yeah.
Oh, I just thought it was a vessel, like a big pot.
No, it's actually like a water cooler or a tea kettle, or to have something to drink in.
Well, I do a show right there in Gettysburg that really? It's held on Bullfrog Road. Do you know where that is?
Okay. Yep. Yeah.
It's a farm, and I just we just had it in October, and then we have one in May, and it's small antique show. But there's a man there that has a log cabin on his property and a barn full of antiques. If you've ever been around there.
I know where it's at. Yep. It's a good place.
Now that farm supposedly is a Civil War field hospital. And it
was.
Yep. And I started to bring up to him last year, about hunting it, and he wanted no parts of it. So
it's Gettysburg is everybody says, oh, you live near Gettysburg. I'm like 20 minutes to Gettysburg and 20 minutes to Chambersburg, so I'm kind of in between. But it is tough getting places over there to go metal detecting because they get bombarded and people just get tired of people asking. I've got a few over there that I've had for a good 4 or 5 years, and it's a good relationship. But I have had problems where I took somebody and they went back without me, so that was bad.
We've had that issue before too, and now we really have to. I always call Doug and I talking. We have to vet the person because there's certain unspoken rules in this hobby, and I just assume everyone knows them. But we've had people that apparently don't know them and went back without us too. Doug, are you still up there?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure. Doug got a brand new laptop. He shouldn't freeze up.
The way I found out about you, Jason, was through I'm friends with Charles and them from Keystone. This is their shirt.
Oh,
Charles
Schaefer.
So that's how I met them 3 years ago, and that's how I learned about your channel through them. And I know Charlie has hunted with those guys too a few times.
Oh, we've been with Charles.
Charles
years ago, me, Doug, Drew, and Jocelyn went out every weekend for like a whole summer.
Yeah.
So we've been around. We've hunted with most people in the area over the years.
Yeah.
But Charles is a great guy. It's probably been over a year or so since I've saw him, and his sister Peggy. Thank you, Doug.
Yeah, they're really good people. They're really good people to hunt with. They respect the land and the history, and
he's a handsome son of a gun. That Charles Schaefer.
Yeah, Charles
Man,
doesn't.
imagine being cursed like that, Doug. Only me and Charles know about that, Doug. It's hard.
Yeah.
Charles doesn't. He doesn't dig that much anymore. He got a chicken farm going on there and some other business, right?
He's actually he actually got married, Charlie.
Yes, I
He
know.
got married?
Yes,
Yeah.
I met her. They stopped here one day to pick up some things that I had that they were going to sell.
I
Okay.
didn't know Charles got married. I didn't even know he had a girlfriend. I'll have to congratulate him.
I think she's from down Virginia. I think she's from down south, right?
Yeah, down in near Richmond somewhere.
Yeah.
He's a good dude, though, Charles Schaefer. I like him a lot. Good dude.
Yep.
And I see Ken from Adventures in Dirts on there.
I didn't want to interrupt you. I saw Ken. I saw our good friend Bells is in there.
Yeah, Bells. I know Bells too.
Archaeology, who was around the area.
Yeah,
it's a good crowd.
Ken had me on his show. I found a gold coin about 3 or 4 years ago now, and he featured me on one of his shows on his channel. There he is.
Adventures in Dirt show.
Yeah.
We've been on his show a couple of times. We've had Ken on our show just a few weeks ago. Ken's another awesome dude.
It looks like Lost. Yeah, Andy Snell just came in from Lost Boys.
See, Lost Boys. Yes, Andy.
There's Alicia.
Haven't seen.
I haven't got to meet Alicia yet. I want to meet her eventually.
Yeah, we'll have to wait till we get a good event up north and see if we can get her up here.
Yeah, I know. I know Chig was telling me he met her down some event down in Arkansas recently. Did you go to that event, Jason?
Yeah,
down
Doug
in
and
Arkansas?
I went down to that one. Yep.
Yeah. Sounded like it was a pretty good one.
Yeah, it was a good one. Vets Dig Beeps, who is in the chat right now, he was in there too. He makes these lanyards. Not that I'm trying to plug him, but he makes these little bungee lanyards. He was set up there vending. Chig was there. My good buddy Heath from History Seekers was there. Really good group. Bells was there. That was a really nice hunt down in Arkansas. If you like Native American stuff, especially.
I do. I mean, I'm not real good at it yet. Like I said, I got lucky when I found that as a kid, but Chig took me to one of his places on the river, and I can't remember. I don't have it handy right now, but I never done it before. He wanted to kind of teach me how to do it, and he walked right over what's called a nutting stone, where it's a rock, and it's got a place in it where the Native Americans kind of ground a stone on it, like you can tell where it's been like dipped out, and he stepped right over it. I found that, so I did pretty good that day.
What's real interesting about those nutting stones is still nobody knows what they were for.
I didn't exactly know what he was calling a nutting stone, but I didn't know what it was for.
No, people refer to them as nutting stones.
Okay.
Because one of the early ideas was that they made that divot, so they put a nut in there and then crack it with another rock. But,
okay. Wow.
It's only a theory, because why would you do that? Why would you go through the trouble when you could just hit it between two rocks?
Right.
So
nobody knows exactly. I mean,
no.
Could that also been to like mix? Maybe they were using it to mix some colors in it to make paint or something.
That's another theory. And fire starting.
Actually, I think Ron Popeil invented the nutting stone and sold 7 million units on.
He did the pocket fisherman.
Who's Ron Popeil? I know that name, Doug.
Pocket fisherman.
The pocket fisherman and 4 million other the spray on hair.
Yeah, infomercial.
Oh, he's like Billy Mays.
Oh, he was smarter than Billy Mays.
I don't disrespect Billy Mays. Rest in peace, Billy Mays. So, Mike, I know, I've seen a lot of your videos. You do go out with Chig a lot. And knowing Chig, who also does like the cave exploring and stuff, has he tried to talk you into doing that? Because, man, that's scary stuff.
We've talked about doing that, but I'm not real. Like, I've been in caves before. When I grew up in Indiana, I used to go to southern Indiana, down around the Ohio River. And I grew up. A lot of my family was in a town called French Lick, Indiana, and that was a coal mining town. It's where Larry Bird's from, the basketball player.
Oh yeah.
And my family knew his family growing up. But anyway, I went in some caves down there when I was younger, but it just, I don't know, I'm kind of claustrophobic and everything. But yeah, he's asked me, and I don't know, maybe I will eventually, but if it's as long as it's something I can like stand up in, I'm not going to get any of that stuff he's been doing recently where he digs these sinkholes out and slithers down this little hole. I ain't doing that.
That scares the bejesus out of me. I'm not doing that either. I don't know how.
I don't know if you've watched him do that or anybody else's channel. When I'm watching, I almost get a sense of claustrophobia just watching it. Sometimes it's
I just get nervous that you might get stuck and can't get out. We've had him on the show, and I talked to him about it, and he's been doing it a while. He seemed really confident that he wouldn't. He knows what he's doing. But from the layman like me watching it, I get nervous for him because I think, man, if I got my big old butt stuck in there and I was by myself, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
But
yeah, he gets around pretty good too for his age. It's like I said, I'm in my 40s now, and he's got to be. I think he's 60, but he wears me out sometimes going up these hills and stuff. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's funny. That's how Doug is. Doug is no spring chicken, and he's usually the first guy detected and the last guy off the field. And you wonder, man, where do you get the energy from? And then I remember half his body parts are metal now. That's why he's like a cyborg.
How long you been digging, Jason? How long you guys been detecting? All of you guys. I mean, you could go through the group if you want, but like Doug and Charlie, how long y'all been? And Rich and Lindia, how long y'all been detecting?
Go ahead, Doug. You're over the top. I'll put us in this orientation, Doug, while you give him your bio.
I'm supposed to answer that?
Yeah, he asked you a question.
No, he asked me the question. How long have we been?
Well, I'm going to start with you because you were detected before you met me.
Yeah, I started detecting in the 70s when I had a broomstick in a box and something round on the bottom. I don't know what it was, but I did find coins at the local schools and parks, what have you. Did the normal routine. Got away from it for a good many years because I got hooked into fishing real heavy. And,
that sounds like me. I was doing the same thing. I'm a bass fisherman too. I love smallmouth bass. That's my thing. And I stopped detecting for a little bit and was fishing. I had a boat and everything, and then I got back into metal detecting. Sounds like kind of like the same thing with you.
Yeah. Well, when I was into offshore fishing, and that's quite expensive. So I figured one expensive hobby at a time, and the regulations just got to be so disappointing that I just said, I'm going back to metal detecting.
I don't blame you.
When I did, I started watching guys like Jason, QuarterHoarder, the Jeff Ford, Plug Master.
Yeah.
Aquachigger was one of my favorites, the Hoover Boys. And finally figured out that Jason lived not too far from me by the dirt he was digging in. I said, that's New Jersey dirt. And sure enough, I was able to track him down because of the sleuthfulness of my
it's the worst mistake of my life, Mike.
accepting my
I told my wife I should have dyed the dirt a slightly different shade, and I wouldn't be in this mess.
Yeah, he's loving every minute of it. He doesn't have a better foil than me.
Doug's he's a good guy. I'm so grateful, Mike, because when I started, I went by myself for the most part, and I was reluctant to go with other people. And then through Doug, it opened my eyes of how much enjoyable the hobby can be when you do it with people that you like and you get along with, that love this crazy hobby like we do. And just like you and Chig, I mean, you find someone that you jive with that likes doing what you like to do. And it just makes it that much more special. When you're happy for them, they're happy for you. You share the day together. You can't beat that with a stick.
Yeah. And I got him out of the woods. He was like a recluse in the woods.
Wow.
Okay.
In the winter.
in the winter. And we were able to, I kind of took a lesson from the Hoover boys and figured, look, we got all this colonial stuff we could be searching, and I was able to get onto some real good properties, and we've just taking advantage of that. And then, of course, Charlie came along with even more colonial properties. So I'll let him pick up the story from there.
Oh, thanks, Doug.
That's your cue, Charlie.
For myself, I started about 5 years ago. We decided to sell a family farm to the neighbor, and my job was to find the survey pins. We had the survey, but we didn't know where the pins were. So I had a detector that the kids used to use at the beach, and I decided to take this out. And I was looking at the survey, and it was pretty neat because I found the pins. I found all the pins, and that made things pretty good for us to sell the farm. Then we knew right where the land ended and began. So I had this detector. I decided to take it around the house. Now you got to realize some of our neighboring properties, like the Daniel Boone homestead, is not far. Abe Lincoln's grandfather's not far, so that's a very historical part of where we live. So I started to get around the house, the old farmhouse. I started finding incredible coins and relics, and that was really how I started 5 years ago. And I made a contact through Jason and Doug, and they came up. Their lives were at risk for the first time I met them.
We needed to repel and all kinds of. We needed helicopter lift in and out. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, the first time Charlie invited us out, it made like Chig's cave diving look like a preschool class.
Oh my gosh!
we were walking along an icy cliff to get to the permission that I had near my house. I did drive about part way with my Kubota. Then we stopped and we walked along this icy pathway.
Yeah,
and it was pretty bad.
Part way was 30 feet.
Part way.
And
the flat ground.
They probably thought I was trying to kill them or something, or like some killer here. But we went to the location. It turned out to be a fantastic place. We actually went back four times, if you guys recall.
I recall every time. Yeah,
it was a fantastic. I think it was like a 1722 property, a Swedish property that was abandoned, and it was in the middle of the woods. So, but that's how I started from finding.
Sometimes those off the beaten paths are the best ones, Charlie. You got to walk.
Yeah, exactly. So we sold the farm to the neighbor, and then I asked the young boy that bought the farm. I said, "Can I detect it?" He said, "No, he don't want anyone detecting it." Ironically, last week I went to his farm and purchased 30 turkeys from him for our church. And then I asked him, this is 5 years later, I asked him, "Can I detect your farm?" He said, "Oh, sure." So God has permission now.
You got to change the heart. Change a heart.
All you had to do was buy 30 turkeys.
30 turkeys.
We would have chipped in for that 5 years ago, Charlie.
Yeah, I like turkey. They can freeze well.
It was actually for the church, for our church. So, but he says, "Sure, go ahead." So I have that place to hunt now, and that's an old property also there. That
nice.
So Lynn, Rich and Lynn, give him your breakdown real quick, and because then I want to go into some of these things he's been finding, but I don't want to leave his question hanging.
So I was actually always obsessed with bass fishing as well for a long time, and I still think about it every day. I just
I didn't know you were ever a fisherman.
Sure. Yeah, fishing wears you out mentally.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised if he's still riding around in his car with the fishing poles in it. Remember?
I just took them out.
Did you?
Because they're over at the
new house. Okay.
Yeah. It wears you out. You do all this work and then you go and you get ready and you wake up even earlier than we do. And then you get nothing to show for it. You still have fun and you're out in nature. But metal detecting is always, even if you don't find anything, it's always a good time. It's,
I'll tell you a quick story on that real quick. We went out in Chig's boat, and I said we took the fishing poles with us. We just decided to take them, and I hadn't fished in like 5 or 6 years. And we got on a mess of smallmouth bass, and it kind of like ignited that fire with bass fishing again. And ever since then, I want to keep going now. You know what I mean? Because it's like it was a good spot. We were catching them every cast.
Wow. There's nothing like reeling in a fish.
And them
I noticed
smallmouth, they fight hard.
There's also nothing like seeing a copper in the hole or some silver in the hole.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. Yep. But it was just nice. It kind of reignited that fire for me. I hadn't done it in so many years, you know. But,
and now I don't have the time to do both, really. So
yeah, I don't either.
Detecting it is.
Yep, me too.
But it's been about 3-4 years for me.
Yeah.
And since I've always lived in colonial houses, grew up around antiques.
Where did you where are you guys located at? Are you in PA too, or are you another state?
Yeah,
or
in PA?
Bucks County.
Okay.
We're
Bucks.
We're about
okay.
15 minutes from where Washington crossed the Delaware.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. Charles, my friend Charles, he took me up near Reading, PA. That's where they're like Berks County. You know where that's at?
Yeah,
that's a good area. Yeah, it's a good area up there. I found
where Charlie's from.
The first place they took me up there, they probably they probably thinking I should have took Mike up here. I come up there on that property. My first day there, I found musket balls. I found a 2-cent coin. I found a counterfeit King George II. That thing rang up low, and we didn't understand why. So I had it looked at. It's one of those contemporary counterfeit coins.
Yeah, we find them too. They're really interesting.
We found a pewter one recently that still sort of unsure.
That's cool.
You know, but it was.
But anyway, that was a good hunt. I'm sorry to cut you off, Rich. Go ahead, buddy.
I was done.
Okay.
Yeah, he was just saying we found a pewter KG2, and what's weird is it would have been so much heavier that when you handed it to someone, they probably would have instantly known because, you know, pewter is dense and heavy. It's, I don't know, people counterfeit the weirdest things, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to risk going to jail, are you going to do it for something worth 1/2 of a penny? Why not go for the gold coin or something? At least make it worth it.
Really?
Does anybody know the history behind those counterfeits with the KGs? Was the colonists running out of coinage and they just started making their own? What was the history behind that?
Yeah, if Steph was in here, Steph would know it.
Yeah,
I'm sure some of the famous counterfeiters were up in New England. I forget their name, like Marshall. I want to say Marshall Mathers, but I think that's Eminem.
That is Eminem, yeah.
I don't think
Eminem. You talk about Mansion Mills?
Something like that, Macon Mills or something.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they would risk the penalty to counterfeit such a low denomination coin. But yeah, I know Steph isn't here. She said there was a huge coin shortage, but I mean, you know, if you went against the king and you made coins without his authorization, the penalty could have been really serious. So I guess the colonists had to say, look,
Steph is here.
Yeah, I said yeah.
Oh.
I guess they needed these coins more than the risk of getting caught, and just made them at the cover of darkness.
We in Philadelphia, I guess it was less than 10 years ago, had a construction site dig up over 3,000 KG2s.
No. They were William III's, Doug.
You sure?
Yeah, they were 1600 William III's. They were in a vessel,
later.
Wow.
And when they broke it, there was thousands of counterfeit King William III's.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we feel like some of those had been dispersed, and we had found a couple other than the one Rich found recently. But they rang up very lower than they should have, and I dug it. The one I have found, I dug it anyway because it was at least a consistent sound. And then Jay ran over it with a different machine, and it was totally different. So
yeah, it was. I don't recall at the time. I think we were using the Amphibio, which I think went to like 60, and where coppers would hit like in the 40s, and this would hit like a 20, like something that. An unfathomable low number for a coin.
Right.
And we kind of made the deduction that it must be some sort of a counterfeit.
Right.
And Lynn's detecting history is very, very short because the first time she's ever done it was like last weekend.
It was like 2 weeks ago. Well, yeah, I've relegated myself to watching mainly because of joint pain from Lyme disease.
Oh, and, wow.
I've had a good spell now where, knock on wood.
She detected all day with us.
All day. From sun up to sundown, Lynn was out there swinging and found some good stuff.
Well,
first time ever.
That's a stretch, but
some cool stuff.
You're
some
being
cool.
Nice.
Well, you know, it's a common thing for when someone's new to the hobby, and you know, it's not rocket science what we do by any means, but it does take some skill to not dig big things, a lot of iron things, unless you're intentionally looking for them. So Lynn was new, and a lot of the things she dug were large that maybe we would have passed over, iron that maybe we would have realized. But you still got to cut your teeth. You got to dig that stuff, figure it out. And some of the pieces that she dug were really cool. So you never know sometimes. You know, put the shovel in the earth and see what you get.
Yeah, I thought that Volkswagen bus was really cool.
Yeah, she got a full Volkswagen buck.
Yep.
There was a Winnebago hood. She thought was a nickel.
Yeah, I have to get more practice in.
She found that vampire steak.
Yeah, that's true. First hole.
Are you guys really dry up that way like it is here? The ground's so hard here in the field.
It hasn't rained in like a month.
Yeah, it's been over a month here.
Yeah.
I mean, I was out digging the other day. I kind of like it when the ground's wet because I think it helps the signals a little bit. I don't know about you guys.
Oh,
for conductivity.
Yep.
And it makes it hard to dig in the grass because it's going to die. I like it to be at least a little bit of moisture in there.
Yeah, you can't dig nice plugs in this type of weather. The dirt just falls apart. It's bad.
I should have you guys come up. The creek out here is really low. I know Rich likes to look for the Indian stuff, Rich.
Yeah.
The creek is really low.
Well, it's still 80 degrees. Let's do it.
The creeks are still huntable right now. The water's a little bit cold, but you could wear like knee waders or something. Yeah.
Well, listen, talking about the creeks and rivers, Rich, I want to segue into
that's a good segue.
some of the stuff that Mike's been finding, because I don't want to like paint Mike into the corner that he only hunts Civil War or that he only hunts creeks and rivers.
Yeah, I was just going to ask him, did you get into Civil War because of where you live, or were you into it beforehand?
I've always been into the Civil War. My background, I moved out here in 2005 or 6, and I've always, as a child, I come to Gettysburg and visited, so I've always had an interest in the Civil War history and the Rev War, both. I mean, it's also in this area too. I've found I don't know where it's at right now, but I found Rev War cannonballs before.
Wow.
I got stuff piled up. Anyway, but yeah, I kind of like the Civil War. I think it's a part of our American history that is interesting because it was a Civil War. You know, it was between the states, so that has an interest to me. I study any history. I love all history. So, but yeah, particularly the Civil War. I mean, I just started finding that stuff. It's probably been, my gosh, like I told you, I didn't get back to the metal detecting probably real heavy till 2018, and that's when I found my first Civil War stuff. So it hasn't been that long ago when I first started finding it. But once I started finding it, I sure learned it, and I know what to listen for. I've kept the same machine for 6 years, almost 6 years now, 5 years, something like that. And just, ever since I bought it, and I know what I'm listening for. Some of the soil could be kind of challenging as you get towards Maryland and Virginia. I don't know if you all heard about Virginia's soil.
Red clay.
Iron.
Yeah, I bet it's really got a lot of iron. And I got down around Culpeper, and I did really well last year. I went to a hunt down there on a plantation, and I crossed the river, went up the ridge. If you get in the woods, sometimes the soil's a lot better if you're not using like a GPX or a pulse induction machine. A lot of people were using pulse induction. So I use an Equinox 800. So I went up in the woods. I found like 40 bullets up there. So there's stuff. Sometimes you got to think outside the box. Everybody was in the field. I went in the woods. So, but yeah.
Yeah. Those guys dig those big pits too. In those things, they'll dig down 6 feet and find a lot of bottles, bullets, from old campsites. It's a whole different kind of detecting than what we do. But I find it really interesting. The guy we have on next week does a lot of that too. And I just find it fascinating because even though we all kind of do the same hobby, there's just different ways of doing it. Like what we do is so different than beach hunting, or, farm fields are so much different than creeks and rivers, and just the things you have to contend with in the water that you don't on land, and just little nuances like that.
I'll show you something. There's days where I don't really want to go very far. I just think, you know what, I'm going to go hunt my kid's schoolyard. Well, this last summer I got over there in the schoolyard and I pulled a gold. I know I didn't expect to find anything. I was just going there messing around. I pulled a
Mason's ring.
Freemason's gold ring out of the schoolyard. So I didn't expect that. I was just taking the kids over there. They were playing on the swings and stuff. I thought, you know what, I might as well take the machine. And that was just laying there. It wasn't even in the ground. So
maybe a recent drop.
I actually contacted the school because it being a Freemason ring, I wanted to try to return it. And nobody has claimed that it's 18 karat gold. It weighs 18 grams.
Wow.
Yeah, you're talking $700-800 just in gold.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess it's just going to stay in my collection for now. So I need some money, I guess. But anyway.
Yeah, it's funny. We found a ring recently. Doug found it. And class ring, we tracked the guy down, went to the school.
Yeah.
Doug went to the school, talked to the principal. We found the kid, reached out, called him, excited to do a big return. The guy could give two craps. He didn't want it. He never called us back. He didn't show up. He didn't even care. So we just gave it back to the homeowner.
And he lives 5 minutes from the school.
Yeah, he lives 5 minutes. It's weird. Like sometimes, like in my mind, it's going to be this big grandiose thing where he's going to like faint and like teardrops are going to come. That guy didn't care at all.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. That surprises me.
Me too.
Huh.
So
yeah, when I told the principal about the ring. I was at one of my son's basketball practices when I seen him, and I said, I'm not going to tell you guys exactly what it is, but you need to check and see if the janitors lost it when they were mowing or what was going on. Because I didn't want someone just saying, "Oh yeah, I found." They had to describe it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Nobody could. So I still have it.
Yeah, the thing is, like a school, it could have even been a passerby. A guy flying a kite. Who knows?
Yeah.
And like you said, it's hard because you put a picture online, everyone and their mother is going to say, "Oh yeah, it was me."
That's ours.
Yeah, exactly. Especially being gold and everything. And it's tough. I even checked at the Freemasons Lodge in town, and nobody was saying anything was missing. So
yeah, well, keep your eyes out on like the local Facebook page. Maybe someone will say, "Hey, I lost a ring."
You never know.
Otherwise,
But I just wanted to throw that out there because I sometimes I don't ever hunt places like that, and I just thought I'd take the machine and go, and I'm glad I did.
You never know. There's treasure everywhere.
I know.
A lot of the people that watch my show, they'll say like, "Oh, I live out west or I live down south. We don't have the colonial history you do." But wherever you live, there's going to be old, interesting things, just a different type of old, interesting things, and make the most out of wherever you live. And you're going to have a good time doing this hobby, and just a different type of treasure.
Yeah, there's treasure, and then I don't know if you guys get this, but I guess this is a good segue to get into the river hunting like you're wanting to do. I have a lot of people from one of the finds I had recently. I have that video Jason's doing really well. It's over 300,000 views right now.
Yeah, I have some pictures that you sent me, Mike. I'm going to bring up while you're talking about it.
I have a lot of people out of the 300,000 views right now. I've had about a handful trying to tell me that I planted that stuff, and that kind of irritates me.
Don't worry about the haters. Nothing you can do about it.
Where am I going? Do you think I'm going to go out and pay $1,500 for a rusted up rifle and throw it in the river? I don't understand people's thinking. That would ruin it anyway. I wouldn't, and look at the stuff I found. They know it. Look, look at the patina on the US and then the green. It's on the breastplate. They were right next to each other.
That's exactly. You can tell from the patina.
Yeah, you can tell. Someone who does this a lot, the average guy at home has no idea. but you're not going to fool other metal detectorists. So don't worry about the couch potato who thinks everything in the world is a conspiracy. You can tell from looking at that's been, that's been in the earth for quite a while.
And that was all. I'll tell you what happened if you haven't seen the video. I wish I would have filmed more, but Jason, when it started happening, I don't know. I was kind of in shock as to what was happening. I didn't even get the camera out right away. I was flipping out. I was kind of in. I don't know if you've ever had something like that happen before, but you don't even know what to think. Now,
Doug, let me bring this back in so I can tell Doug, because I don't know if Doug saw the video or not.
I did.
Oh, you did see it?
Yes.
So what Mike's, I'm going to speak for you and tell me if I'm wrong, Mike, but Mike's running theory was, he found the belt plate. He found the box plate from the cartridge box. He found 38 of the 40 3-ringers that would have filled up the box. He found the infield rifle. He found a pocket knife.
It's all the same soldier, I think, Jason.
Yeah, that maybe that guy
I agree.
Fired 2 shots off, maybe got hit himself, fell right there. And over time, the leather and the wood wears away, but the metal things sank, and they sat there undisturbed for 175 years, but could have been from an actual skirmish where the man, passed right there in battle.
Yep.
Is that your running theory, Mike? Yeah,
that's what I think happened. Or there has been it's very unlikely, but if you're, say this is a Union position, so say the Confederacy was overtaking that spot and they wanted to lose some weight, maybe they did throw it over the bank and run. That's another theory I've heard people talk about. I don't know.
Even
that gun is heavy.
Knife, though, like you're not going to throw your pocket knife.
No, that's true. You make a point. But see, the pocket knife is probably, the breastplate and that box plate were all in the same unit. Okay.
Oh, I think this was different. I'll go back.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah, it's something different. I do have, let me bring it up. I have a picture that I thought I had. Go ahead, keep talking. I don't want to interrupt you. I'm just trying to find it.
What I'm saying is the breastplate, the Eagle breastplate and the box plate were all attached to that bag with the bullets in it. So, and the knife was probably in the bag. So that's another possibility. So when they threw it, the knife was in the bag. Okay. What I found first, I got the signal. It was a very odd signal because of all the stuff in that same spot. I mean, it just went, it was like, it didn't know what to do.
Crazy.
My machine was like, sound like Morse code.
And to give a little background, Mike, you found this like right on the river bank of like a creek, right? This was all in the water, submerged.
Right. So I get the first signal and I stick my pinpointer down in there and I find the breastplate. The Eagle breastplate was the first piece I found. I pulled it up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I found a breastplate. So I always recheck my hole. That's one, you tell everybody, like, Len, if you're learning, recheck your hole when you're detecting, because you never know what else could be in there. So I recheck it and I started getting more signals. I thought, well, there's still more stuff in there. So I stick the pinpointer down there. I'm in like about a foot of mud there. I reach down in the hole and I pull out the trigger guard. If you guys can see it up there, it's brass.
Yeah, up here.
So at this point, I'm not even using the metal detector at this point anymore. I don't need to. I mean, there's still stuff. You're just using your pinpointer. And so I stick the pinpointer in there again. Then I find the trigger mechanism. That's an infield trigger mechanism. And then I stuck it in there again, and I find the box plate, the U.S. box plate. And then I got the machine back out and started hunting around there, and the bullets were all within 3 to 5 feet. So it looked like they got flung, kind of just flew, they went flying. But there's 38
fired bullets too.
Yeah, there's 38 there, and a cartridge box held 40 rounds. So there's either a bullet still in this musket that's loaded, or he fired 2. I don't know, unless I missed 2. I mean, I may go back. I'm probably going to go back to this area for sure. But it's just the fact that there's 38. It's all the same person. It has to be.
Now, to the best of your knowledge, was there ever a skirmish at that location that you can find, like an actual? Do you know the name of the skirmish?
Without giving away too much information,
do you know the name of the skirmish? And
I know exactly what it is now. I've narrowed it down. Chick knows this area too. I'll just put it out there. And I think there was somewhere around 25 men that lost their life there and 200 casualties. So there was enough there that this could have been one of them, you know.
There was no initials carved into the knife placard. What? No, that would have been.
No.
You know, what a nice
Yeah,
way
that
to
would have been
help
great.
solve that mystery.
And I must say, I was not near like a national battlefield or anything. I was on, you know, it's just a river. So I want to put that out there.
Keep in mind, the contour of that creek or river has probably changed dramatically over the years. That could have been up on higher ground
and fell.
Then fell over the course of 160 years. So
that might explain
into that one spot.
Yeah, I mean, look at those, Doug. I mean, that's a pretty amazing find. The breastplate alone, and the belt, that's beautiful, and they're perfect. You know what I mean? Like
they're as good as you can expect for that age.
As good as you can expect. From what I recall, Mike, let me bring Mike up full screen. Hold on, Mike.
That's what it looks like cleaned up.
Can I see the back of both of them too, please?
Yeah, it's unfortunately being in the water, it's missing the iron hooks. They rusted away. Okay.
Is that a pewter back?
That's lead.
Lead, yeah, pewter.
Also, if you haven't seen the video when you watched it, Jason, this is the box plate. Now the box plate will be different than a buckle. The buckle will have hardware for a buckle. But this actually was purposeful for that box plate. It was on the flap, and that flap would keep it closed. The weight of the lead in the back would keep that flap closed on their
weight
back.
Alone just held it down from gravity, right?
Now, Doug mentioned about it being in the ground, it could have fell. I think that's a good theory, because if you've seen Aquachigger and me and whoever find bullets in the water, they generally stay the gray color in the water that they was when they were lost.
Right.
Because the white patina that's formed is from the ground. It's over years of being in the ground, so it forms a white color. Now, see, this bullet and this bullet was all found right there. But I think some of these was up in the dirt at one time, and erosion has dropped them into the water, when some of these might have still been in the water all them years.
How high a bank was that, Mike?
There was about a 10-foot bankment in behind me.
Okay.
So, and what was really amazing is when I found that, you know, that was kind of a sombering feeling to be carrying that musket. I took it up the embankment that it came down, and I had all them bullets in my bag, my finder's bag, and I was carrying the breastplate and that. And I felt almost put myself in perspective of what he did, because the weight of the bullets was, that was heavy. Yeah, they carried that around it was heavy in my bag. You can imagine almost 40 bullets in a bag on your side, and then you're carrying this big musket up this hill. It almost put me in a perspective of what they went through. Them guys were amazing, what they did.
And they're doing that probably with little sleep, with little nourishing food. Their feet are probably sore. They probably got dysentery. You know, it was hell. It was really hell.
And I think in my mind, there's two options because of the oxidized bullet and the non-oxidized bullet. Either somebody died on the riverbank, and some of it was submerged and some of it wasn't.
Okay.
Or somebody stashed a bunch of stuff on the riverbank, meaning to go back for it,
and didn't get it.
Never went back for it.
That's another theory I thought about too. Maybe they were trying to hide it. But yeah, something definitely happened. Like I said, it's weird how some of the bullets are still, you know, the gray color, and some are they're a little bit gray, so they were in the mud at one time. But yeah, that's that. The musket was pretty rough. My theory on this, Jason, and everybody else, the buttstock wood is completely gone. So the butt plate was laying up on the bank. I found it a little bit after I found the rest of it. But the wood is still intact where the barrel is at. And what do you guys think about this idea? Do you think the wood was protected by the barrel? That's why it didn't rot away as fast? You think the barrel protected it from rotting a little bit, since it was right up against it, the forearm? Was
the gun's orientation originally... do you think the whole gun was submerged, or if like the bank
Well-
went down, could the gun have been propped up where it was half in the water, half out of the water?
That's
I don't
what
know how
I
you
think.
originally found it.
Well, what was really weird was, I wish I was filming this, but I was, like I said, I was in shock. I found everything else, and then I stuck my hand back down there, and there was handfuls of bullets coming out. And I felt the gun, but I didn't know what it was. I thought it was a pipe, and I thought it was like a stick or something. I thought, what is this? It's in the way. I want to get this out of my way. So I'm sitting there pulling on it, like yanking on it. And then when I pulled out of the mud, I saw that hammer, and I like dropped it. I even stepped back from it. I was like, whoa, did I see what I just seen? What was that? So I go back and pick it up again, and I'm like, oh my God, it's a musket or a rifle. I didn't, at first I thought it was just, see, there's a stick there laying under it. And that's what I thought. That's what I thought I had at first.
That would have been in the mud for a long time, I think, to answer your question. Because if oxygen had gotten to it, the iron would have rusted up so much that it would have pushed the wood right off of it.
Yeah,
you would have just found the barrel.
They find trees underwater that are thousands of years old if the tree got under the mud and stayed out of the airflow. So I guess maybe
he's right.
If it was compacted with mud, it may have preserved everything differently. I'm not a
That's
scientist,
true.
but that's just my guess.
Hey, Mike, do you have a thought? I see that Scott NYC, he was thinking the same way I was thinking, a possible deserter, maybe, because there was a lot of deserting during the latter part of the war.
That's another thought that everybody has told me too. There's so many different things. It's hard to, I guess we'll never know, but I think that's what's so great about metal detecting though. I know you guys find stuff, it kind of tells a story. And that's one thing I put in my channel. The ground to me is like a book, and you can read it if you open it up. It's the same kind of concept. I think of it that way. This is telling me, it tells a story of life 200 years ago. It tells a story of what people did, what life was like. That's why I do this. People ask me all the time, why do I do this? That's why I do it,
Yeah, and I look at it like where either if the guy did pass there or if he threw it and took off, imagine just the utter terror in that guy's heart at the moment that was lost, one way or the other, whether he died there or if he threw it and took off. Imagine the sheer terror in that guy's moment when those items left his hand for the last time.
It's incredible.
It is. It's terrifying. The story, good, bad, or indifferent. It just really paints a picture of that moment. Well, it is an amazing find, and not to discredit the actual find, but to go back to the YouTuber portion of it for you, for a channel that at the moment when you put it up had maybe 5,000 subscribers or so. When I looked, I think you're over 300,000 views. So that's a heck of a viral video for you also.
It is. I've done really well with it, but it is kind of discouraging when you got that many views. And I think I've only picked up like 1,000 subscribers from it. But just how it is, I think, sometimes.
I'll tell you what, here's a secret from one YouTuber that knows. You do not want to pick up a lot of subscribers on one video. It will hurt you in the end.
Okay.
You'd much rather, and I tell everyone this,
slowly grow.
You'd much rather have a closer subscriber to average view ratio than have an incredible subscriber ratio and a real low. It looks much better, looks more authentic. So you don't want to. Metal detecting there's a few guys like Aquachigger that really exploded because he got on the scene so early. But, it's very rare for a metal detectorist to be a gigantic channel. We're a small little niche thing. Yeah. So don't ever get hung up on subscribers. It's a never-ending race.
Oh, I don't. I mean, I try to stay away from that.
There's no end line. So don't worry about that.
I try to stay away from that. Like I enjoy watching Steph Diggs. She puts quality videos out there. I don't know if you watch Steph or not.
Love her.
Sure. She's amazing. Can't say enough about her. But anyway,
while you were talking, Charles Schaefer was in the chat. I didn't want to interrupt you. So he did make it. I do want to say
Okay.
hello to Charles. He did show up. I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, I told him I was going to be in here tonight. I didn't see. I'm having a hard time keeping up with the chat.
It's hard to see it. Oh, there he is. I see him again. I mean, Charles, he's wearing your shirt, brother. So come on, give him some love.
That's Charles, Keystone History Hoarders right there, guys. I'll just throw that out there for you.
That's a good dude. I met Charles through Charlie, I believe. Didn't I, Charlie?
That's
You
right.
knew him before I did.
Yeah.
Good dude, though. Good dude.
Yeah, we detected quite a bit years ago together.
Now,
him and Alan, I think. Alan is a friend of his, right? Alan?
Yeah, Alan, and then John and Peggy.
Peggy, yeah.
We're trying to get. They've invited me and Bo. I call him Bo, but Chig. That way everybody knows what I'm talking about. They've invited us up. We're trying to get everybody together, but it's just hard.
I don't know him real well, so I still call him Mr. Aquaman.
Somebody was asking about. I think it was. Oh, go ahead. What's that?
What's this? A couple years ago, supposedly they found Confederate gold. You hear anything about that? Where the FBI came into the area?
I heard about that, Charlie. Yeah,
oh, that's off
Kentucky.
Kentucky. That was in Pennsylvania, but that was north of Mike.
Yeah, there was a Confederate. There was a Confederate. Yeah, that was up north of.
They were retreating from Gettysburg. And supposedly they buried the gold. But a couple of years ago, someone said it was found. You know anything about that? Up there.
Well, that's right? Up. Jason's correct. That was up north of. That's up north, like by Harrisburg. For some reason, it was up that way.
Did you hear about it?
Yeah, I heard about that. They actually, the guy that found it, he was stupid enough to say something to somebody, and the government basically come in and took it. There's a video on YouTube about that, and they state they never did go find it, but supposedly they didn't. They just made it look like it was like a cover-up thing. It's a big mess, from what I've heard.
He still apparently is trying to sue for information.
Because
they're definitely covering something up. The people who live near there reported all these. They lit up the entire woods in the middle of the night.
Yeah, it was 24 hours a day for like 7 days. They quarantined it off. They had big spotlights. Yeah. They had heavy machinery. And after the 7 days, they left and they said, "Hey, what did you guys find?" They said, "Oh, nothing."
Yeah, right. That's what it was, Jason. That's what it was.
Yep. Yeah, right. You found nothing. They found probably piles of maybe Confederate gold or US gold, and they're not going to tell anybody.
No.
Yeah.
But you're right. The detectorist, it's a slippery slope, man. When you get the government involved, that's a tough. I don't want to give advice of don't tell the government, but listen, just know what's going to happen.
Mike, a lot of people don't realize here in PA, the Confederates were here 3 different times. Now, if I'm not mistaken, help me out on this. Did they not go through Chambersburg in 1862 and 1864? And also, they went to get towards Gettysburg in 1863. So that part of PA, the Confederates were there 3 different times.
Yeah, they were here. They were actually here, I think, one other time, but the main 3 was 62, 64, and 63. 64 was the burning of Chambersburg in 64.
Right.
But yeah, they were up here quite a bit. I've like me and Chig were hunting a site 2 weeks ago, and we were just hunting a house site. And he texts me and says, "Mike, I found a Confederate Gardner bullet. He was out by the road." A lot of these roads around here, they find stuff all the time because they were traveling down these roads. And you don't even expect to find that. You'll be in a random field and a bullet will show up here and there. That's kind of fun sometimes. You just don't know. But yeah.
Now, Mike, have you ever found? I'm always excited to hear if you've ever found a Confederate button, like a regimental button, something from the Confederate States. You have confirmed.
You want to see it real quick?
If you can hold it up, yeah. I mean, that's something I would love. I'm a big button fan, and we don't get those out there.
It still has the uniform attached to the back of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Let me bring him up full screen, Doug, so I can really see this. Hold on.
This is a Gettysburg piece, too.
Hold on, Mike. Let me see how I do this. That's not how you do it. Doug, what am I doing?
Who knows? I'm getting dizzy, though. Watch.
I can't. Oh, there it is. Okay, I did it. I'm
There
trying to
you
make
go.
them full screen so I can see it.
Okay.
See how well this looks, guys. It's going to be a South Carolina button. Some of the gold gilt's still on it.
Yeah, I can't see it real
I can't see the detail, but
You'll have to send me a picture of it later, and I'll have to take a look at it.
Can you see that at all?
I can see a little bit, but not
I
enough
see the
detail to
palmetto
tell what it
tree.
is.
Palmetto tree, right? Has a palmetto
Yep.
tree.
Is that what it is,
Yeah,
Charlie?
Yeah, palmetto tree.
And then you guys can probably see that. That's called the butternut uniform on the back, the
how about
material.
that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Brown, yeah.
That's cool. So it ripped some of the fabric off when it got lost.
No, what happens was, Jason, this whole jacket, I'm going to be going back to look for the rest of them eventually. What happens is the brass that's in these buttons and stuff protected that little bit of fabric. It's a microbial, and it prevents it from prevented that spot from rotting away. The brass that's in the button will protect the button or the fabric. That's what happened.
Wow.
Brass and copper are both antimicrobial.
Exactly. You're exactly right. Yep.
I was just talking to somebody, Doug, and I forget who it was, but we were maybe it was Riley. We were saying how, the Civil War era buttons are more valuable than any other U.S. button, more valuable than the Rev War buttons. So, and some of the Confederate ones are the most valuable. Now, not that I'm saying he does this for the money.
Yeah.
There's just a certain feeling you get when outside of the hobby, when they appreciate something so much that they put a high dollar value on it, it kind of feels like justified for the time that we spend looking for this stuff.
I don't know that this is a button I found in a real small creek ford. Probably not going to be able to see it. That is a USA button. That's worth a little bit of money. That's a Continental Army button there.
Oh, well, the Continental ones, yeah, for sure. They're pewter that says the USA and it's intertwined.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, those are real early for sure.
That's a good one there. But yeah, you're right, Jason. The Civil War buttons are generally worth the Confederate stuff. It's kind of like, it's kind of like with the World War II stuff. Your German stuff's worth more money than the actual, the U.S. stuff. And it's kind of the same way with the Confederate stuff. It's worth more money because it's more desirable.
Yeah, it's such an interesting period too, because it's old enough where, it doesn't just show up every day at like an antique store or a thrift store, but yet it's not so old like the Rev War, where it's almost like, people don't have that connection, to the stuff that old. So that the Civil War, it's not super old, but it's not super young. It's in that sweet spot. And then because regardless of what side you were on, it was still America. Everyone can they're invested.
Yeah, I guess.
Absolutely.
I'll
show you one other.
Mike, is that this past weekend, I wasn't able to join him. None of us were, but Doug went out to one of our spots and got his second or third ever, Doug, 3-ring bullet yourself.
My fourth,
sorry.
Wow.
So he always finds one when no one else is with him.
No,
that's awesome.
No, wait a minute. Matt was with me.
Oh yeah, Matt was with me.
Now wait.
I'm not there with the camera.
No. Wait a minute. Now Jason is just sour grapes because
a little bit sour grapes
because he's never found one.
Nope, I have not.
So we go to Missouri this past spring, right, Jay? We were in Missouri. Yeah. So we're in Missouri. We got invited to an actual
skirmish site.
So everybody's going up the hill, and Jason says, "Oh, well, that's where the battle was. We got to go up the hill. I'm going to get my bullet." So I go over by the parking lot. What's my first signal? A 3-ringer. Jason,
nice.
Well, in my defense, though, Mike, there was about 15 of us there. They all go out. Everyone's finding stuff instantly. So my instinct, as a YouTube person also, is I get the camera and I'm walking around filming everyone's find. So by the time I'm done filming them all, it's almost dark. I didn't really have a lot of opportunity to hunt myself. but that's part of the deal. Like I want to capture that moment to be able to show it forever, even at the detriment of me not finding my own bullet. Eventually I'll get one. It just wasn't that day.
Yeah, we do have
a lot of people don't realize is Missouri has some Civil War activity out there.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, we were at Maxwell skirmish site. They had placards and all that. And the local historical society maintains it. They have ownership of the land. And this event coordinator was able to let us hunt it. But then everything was turned into them for their historical side. No, we didn't keep anything.
Right.
Missouri was a Confederate state. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, it was a Confederate state. And some of those bullets, I don't remember what yours was offhand, Doug, if that was a Confederate bullet or not.
It was a 3-ringer, which typically was the Union Army.
Yeah, they
both sides.
They both. There's a way you can tell the Confederate 3-ringers. They're just, when you turn them upside down, look at the base. They're a little more crudely made. They're just different. They're all those are like just crudely made, basically. But there's also Sharps bullets. I don't know if you guys know what Sharps carbine bullets are. Those were used by the North and South.
They have that base, and then
the Confederates actually took, like, I think I gave you some pictures. There's a carbine ringtail Sharps that I found.
Bring it up right here.
And then there's the that was a Gettysburg camp. That's a ringtail Sharps. It has a little bit of a base that sticks off the end of it. That's my favorite bullet to find. That's my favorite bullet. And the Confederate Gardeners are my second favorite to find. And I like the Williams Cleaners too. Those are pretty cool.
The Williams Cleaner is my favorite. Not that I found any of them.
But
that's my favorite visually to look at because it's just so different.
Now, we didn't have the Civil War up here other than maybe, of course, Gettysburg. Everybody knew that. There may have been some skirmishes around Delaware or near the Mason-Dixon line. But we did have 13 training camps, Union training camps, all throughout the greater Philadelphia area. The one closest to us was Camp Lacey in Doylestown, which is in Bucks County, where Rich and Lynn and I live, and only about 20 miles from us. And when the Lacey Brigade was first dispatched after their initial training, they marched down through our town and down into Philadelphia, and then they were taken down to the Peninsula campaign right after they were finished their training. So we do have some history of training and troops running through it. So
not only that, you got to think about all the troops that came down from New York and northern areas that would camp along the way going south. I mean, they had to camp.
We just don't have. We don't have battlefields.
We don't have battlefields.
Pass or throughs or training or whatnot, but we don't have battles. Which, if you could link your detecting find to a skirmish or a battle or when the stresses of wartime fire, to me that just really escalates how historical that piece would be.
Right.
That's a Civil War artillery shell I dug.
Yep.
Wow. Did you bore it all out yourself?
Oh no, I had Bo Chick did that. I'm not gonna do it. No. This is a Hotchkiss shell, and I got a piece of the sabot here. This is a lead piece of sabot, and that would have wrapped around the base of this. Right. And what's neat about the sabot, if you look close, I hope you guys can see that. You can see the rifling. See these two pieces there?
Yes, on the folded flap. Yes.
See how it went through the gun? You can see the rifling on that piece. When I first dug this piece of lead, I had no idea. I found something good. I had a friend look at it. And he's like, "Yeah, you got a sabot piece there." That's another thing.
Near the Hotchkiss piece.
Yeah, it was in the same area as this. It could be from the shell, but I mean,
I think back, Mike, to when I first started detecting. Like I said, by myself, and I think back to how many things early on that I threw away.
No,
Because
don't.
I just didn't know that it was good.
Yeah.
Until you develop that experience. In
Yep.
retrospect, I wish I would have saved it all, but I'd have piles and piles of stuff all over the house.
Me too. I almost pitched where the bullet was in that infantry button. If you showed the eagle button yet,
no, I have
that camp. That camp I found I thought was a little piece of aluminum. I get home. I wish I had that available, but I'd have to dig it out. I found a soldier's Catholic pendant. It's a miraculous metal. It's sterling silver. I almost threw it away. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
So I cleaned it up with some water and like, oh my gosh, it's not a pull tab. It's a sterling pendant. I didn't know what, So
where did you find this infantry button that I have up?
That's a Chambersburg camp. There's camps all over Chambersburg. That's a Confederate camp, and I find a Union button there. Well, that doesn't mean the Union was there. They could have used the camp, but mainly, a lot of people don't realize a lot of your Confederates they were in the military before the war broke out. So when the war broke out, they wanted to be loyal to their state of Virginia or their state of South Carolina. So they just used the jackets that they had when they were already in the military. So that's why you can find Union stuff in Confederate camps.
And that's initially when the Civil War started, most of the Southern uniforms were blue. And at Bull Run, they couldn't tell from a distance whether they were Union soldiers or Confederates.
I didn't know that, Doug. So early in the war, the Southern uniforms were also blue?
Well, that's because so many of the soldiers had been in the Union Army and then took the side, like Mike said, of the state that they
that's just so difficult if you're already fighting a war and everyone's wearing the same uniform. I mean, that's just chaos.
Keep in mind, most of the generals, if not all of them, that they were graduates of West Point. They were in the United States Army before they followed the course of their state.
I would just have thought that the foot soldiers that are going to be, fighting, you'd want to be able to know friend from foe. But I guess early on, you only wore what you had.
Yeah, exactly. And do you know who defeated John Brown at Harper's Ferry?
Lou Diamond Phillips.
No, but you're close. Lou Diamond. It was a colonel who became the general of the Confederate Army. Who was the
Robert E. Lee?
Robert E. Lee.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
He was a Union colonel that defeated or captured John Brown at Harper's Ferry.
Yep. Wow. General Grant didn't come along until later on.
Exactly.
Wasn't he asked to join the Union Army?
Yes.
Yeah. Lincoln asked him, but he said he had to be loyal to the state of Virginia.
He said, "Whatever way Virginia goes, I'll go."
Yeah, back then you were so much more loyal to your state than to the country, and we've kind of, that's kind of gone by the wayside a lot now. But yeah, your state was the most important. So he was going to go wherever the state went. He was, he gets some crap nowadays in retrospect, but you don't get much more patriotic than that. His loyalty stood where it stood, and he was going to do whatever he had to for what was most important to him and his family. And
Arlington Cemetery was taken. That was his property, his plantation, and it was taken because of him going to the South, and that's where the war dead were first buried.
A lot of people don't realize this. I'm glad you brought that up, Doug. John Brown has a connection to Chambersburg as well.
Yes.
There's a house here in town that I drove by many times, and that's where he hid out during that Harper's Ferry raid. The house is up here, and then there's a church not far from me that he taught Sunday school at up here. So there's a connection to this area with him as well. So
I got a couple, just a couple more photos that you sent me. I want to bring in real fast.
Did I?
Period. I think it was a seated quarter. Yeah, there's the backside, which is beautiful.
Yeah, I had to include that. I found that just about 2 days ago in a field. Where a tavern was there, I guess. And I found other stuff there. I thought I wanted to bring. That's why I had this on there. Plus, I had to have a quarter because your channel's called QuarterHoarder, so I had to include a quarter.
Is that your first ever seated quarter, though?
No, I have. That's my oldest. I have an 1876, and I found two 1851 half dimes or 53 half. The other the same year. That's weird. I found two half dimes as well.
Okay.
But that's not my first. That's my oldest quarter yet. I found.
Yeah, those are nice. The backside is just gorgeous. Just like
as you
Doug.
can tell, it got scratched a little bit, probably from a plow, maybe, or I don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't do that.
Yeah, I could see some going across from a plow or maybe a metal shovel.
Yeah, it could be actually. Just glad I didn't cut it in half.
Hey, listen, we've all done it. I'm not making fun of you. We've all.
Well, no, I don't know. I couldn't imagine cutting it in half. That'd be awful.
Hey, you want to hear a funny story, Mike?
Oh, geez.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, what happened? Why are we all small there? Oh, go ahead, Doug. I'm fixing it. There we go.
Let's all get small together. And Rich knows what I'm talking about.
What's your funny story, Doug?
All right, so we're doing this nice yard at a house. We all were finding really neat stuff, and Jay says, "Oh, I just found a cut half real."
Oh!
And about 10 minutes later, he says, "Oh, I found another cut half real
in the same hole."
Oh!
You cut it in half.
Hey, listen, that's why I'm not busting Mike's chops. We all hit things. I mean,
just some more than others.
That's a good segue. Right. That's a good segue, Jason, because this actually I didn't hit. You guys probably found. Have you ever found a trime? The little.
Absolutely. Well, most of us have.
We got buckets.
I have not.
Most of us have.
Oh, look here. I didn't break that one in half.
Holy cow!
Wow, you found it like that?
All right, I was hunting a Civil War site in West Virginia. I got the one piece with the date on it. It's 1850. Oh, I can't see it right now. 1851. And then I thought maybe there's the rest of it somewhere else. So I decided to hunt. I always spiral out of my finds. You know, you always should do that. And about a foot out from where I found that piece, I found the other piece, and it matches up perfectly. So It must have got broke at one time, and they're known for that because they're so thin. But being that it's 1851, a soldier more than likely lost that coin there. I also found a gold coin there dated 1853 in that spot too.
Wow, gold coin.
Yeah. Yep.
I have a question for you.
I got a picture of it, but it's easier to see the picture. It was that one.
Man. Hold on, let me bring you up there. Wow. What denomination was that?
That's the small $1 gold piece.
Okay.
That's the tiny one.
Equinox?
With the Equinox, yeah. It rang up a solid 12. The Equinox.
Wow.
I don't know if you know the numbers on the Equinox, but they ring up tend to be kind of low. The 800s are lower. And it rings up like a nickel. Like even your shotgun shell head stamps ring up as a nickel. They ring up at 12.
That would be like on our machine, like a 24, 25.
Yeah. So
Mike,
yeah,
go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get another picture up. Go ahead. Keep going.
So I think it's really cool how most things from the Civil War are very identifiable, whether it's Confederate or Union or what it is, bullets. We find a ton of musket balls having no idea if they're from the Rev War or if they're just from somebody hunting from back then. But is there anything from the Civil War that you can find that it could have been either side? You have no idea.
Like I found that the other day. That's a Civil War one, but I don't know what side used it. I mean, the Confederacy did use a lot more round bowls at the beginning of the war than the Union did because they had to use what they had.
I've heard that.
Like this is something I found the other day that I had no idea what in the world it was. This was about a year ago. It just looks like a spiral piece.
It's a Twizzler.
Well,
don't eat it, though.
That's what it looks like. It's brass. What this would have had bristles on it, made like horsehair, or I don't know what kind of bristles that they used. And then one had a leather strap on the end of it, and this was used to clean out a carbine rifle. They would put it in the barrel and pull it through, and this would clean the barrel out.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
That would have had little bristles on it at one time, and that would have been pulled through the barrel of the musk of the rifle to clean it.
What gun cleaners look like today?
Yeah, or like even like a baby bottle cleaner. Same basic concept.
Same concept. Yep. So that's another one that I didn't want to throw it away, and I had someone idea it for me. So, like you said, don't ever throw it away because you just don't know what.
That's the kind of stuff that early on I may have thrown away because I would have thought it was a piece of a barbed wire fence or something.
Exactly, and I kept
There's a guy in the chat, Tip Young. I'll give him credit. He called it a boar brush. I don't know if that's right, but it sure sounds official. So I'll give a shout out to Tip Young there for boar brush.
Yeah, thanks, Tip. That's that's exactly what it is. That's something else I was going to say too, Jason.
I got another photo here too that I found on your page. I don't think this was your find. I think it was someone you were with, but I thought it was a really nice combination here. Another full set of breast.
Yeah, that was an interesting day. I don't know if he's still in the chat or not. That's Patrick from Stories from the Signal. We were out hunting a river, and I get the breastplate, and I'm yelling. I'm getting so excited, so I call him down, and he comes down.
He's in the chat. Stories from the Signal. I see him.
Yeah, and he comes down, and you'll have to watch the video because it's a long, long story. I don't want to drag it out, but long story short.
But I was trying to just for the people that didn't see it.
I got the signal on the other part on the box plate or the buck. I can't remember which one it was, and it was a very cold day that day. I was cold. I said I'm going across the river to take a rest. I got the signal and I was digging for it, and he went ahead and finished it. So he dug the other two, and he was gracious enough I found the breastplate. No, that's the other one. And come to find out, they were a set, and he was gracious enough to let me keep the other two pieces with it. So I give him credit for that. Yeah,
that is the crescendo of the Civil War soldier, like the three things that you can match to every soldier. So to find all three of them in one spot, I just think is such an amazing trifecta of a story.
Yeah,
that's all from the same spot. They were literally like a foot apart, literally, and one's a buckle, one's a box plate, and one's a breastplate. There's no doubt in my mind, 100%. That's all from the same soldier. There's no other question.
You know what I just noticed? This is kind of off topic a little bit, but Doug, in this picture, and I just noticed it. Look at this. Maybe you'll know what this is. We find these maybe once a year, and I forget what it is. It's this part right here. Can you see this piece? Whoops.
Yeah.
It looks like Doug, you found one a few months ago.
Yeah.
And I know what it is, but I can't think what it is. It
Patrick,
looks like
what is that?
Yeah. Anyone in the chat? It looks like a little Mercedes steering wheel, but I know it's something significant. And I don't remember.
Did you find that, Patrick? I see you in the comment. Or was that Jill?
Somebody in here is going to know what it is. I'm sure Steph would. She may have dropped out already, but it's bugging me, Doug, because you found one a few weeks ago and I was filming it. And I said, darn it, I can't remember what it is, but I know it's something of significance.
And it went in my scrap bucket.
Well, I'm not saying significant where you're going to pray to it every night, but it's not a piece of garbage. But I can't think what it is, and maybe someone will know. It's just funny that I just now noticed it in that picture. So obviously, those guys thought enough of it to also put it in their wrap-up photo.
Right.
But I can't figure out what. Oh, I'll show it. They asked me to show it again. I'll show it again. It's this piece up here, guys. If anyone in the chat knows what it is, it looks like it's like a toy steering wheel, but it's not. It's something. If someone types it, I'll remember. But at the moment, it's eluding me.
Can anybody else go back to that picture, Jason?
Sure.
Can you look below that piece? Can anybody figure out what that is?
This smush bullet?
Yeah, that's what that is. Yep.
It's lead.
Yeah, it's
a lot of people. A lot of people don't realize that's why them did so much damage, because when they hit the body, they would mush out and mushroom and just do a lot of damage. I just wanted them to see that. That's what if no one's ever found one, that's what a smushed Civil War bullet looks like that's fired a lot of times.
Yep.
Yeah, and for scale, I mean, this smushed off part is probably close to the size of almost a $50. So it's like a golf ball going through your body.
Well, that's why the exit wound is always bigger than the entrance wound.
Oh yeah, it'll break bone. Yeah. It's just devastating.
I actually like finding fired bullets because a lot of times you don't find one similar. They all have their own frozen in time characteristic, which I think is really awesome.
Yeah, I've seen so many cool ones over the years. One guy, I don't see him tonight. His name is Chris Heimsoft. He lives down in Missouri. He found a bullet, a 3-ringer, that I guess when the soldiers at night were at camp bored, they carved like a photo, like an image. They carved it into it, like scrimshaw, into this bullet, and then they wound up losing it. And he found it, one of the most amazing ones I've seen. And then I've seen some that got stuck in the barrel, and you would put in this like auger type piece until you go into it and pulled it out. They call them worms. Yeah, those are really neat. When people find those,
I found a couple of them before. That you bring that up, I think it's kind of neat to show you guys this. This is a Civil War bullet, and this is a Civil War bullet, and the one doesn't look like one because the soldier was bored and he smashed it and made a sinker out of this one.
Oh wow! Move it back from the camera a little bit. Are there 2 holes in it?
At the top, there's a hole. At the top,
you can see. Yeah, okay, I see it. Yes.
He punched a hole in it, and a lot of people are arguing with me, saying, "Oh, how's it a bullet? How do you know?" Well, you know what? I decided to put one on my scale and weigh it, and they weigh the exact same weight.
Yeah, it looks like you cut it in half and maybe flattened out the curvature a little bit, so it looks wider. But
if you think about it, see how the inside of the bullet has that cone cavity in there?
Yep.
Look how this part, that's the cavity right there. That's half the bullet.
I 100% agree with you.
And then some people almost said it almost looks like a little fish.
Yeah, it does. It looks weird. The groove lines inside of it look weird.
I love fun stuff like this because it's kind of a piece of folk art if you think about it. You know, it's a soldier was doing that. He was, it shows their life.
Well, and lead is just such a soft metal. It's so easy to bend it, manipulate it, cut it, melt it. You can really do a lot of interesting things with lead.
A big bucket lister for me would be a bullet turned into a game piece.
That's me.
I want to find one of those so bad.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I think I've got one. They're hard to find. I've got one out of all the stuff I found. I got one. So they're not.
That basketball, Rich, earlier this year that was cut nice and smooth, and then
maybe he would know something about that. We found. Well, I found a musket ball that was very neatly and perfectly cut right in half.
Yeah, they did that.
Smooth bottom that you could slide
and then
across
in the
floor.
same field, we found a whole musket ball where you can see the perfect line scored across the center of it. Like they were going to also cut that one in half, but there's no way to know why. Have you ever seen anything like that before?
Yes, I have. I've got many bullets like that they've cut completely in half. I want to show you guys something that brought me to this. I do have a cut bullet in here, but I got it in my little display case. I started something new. I've been going to like Hobby Lobby and getting baseball plastic containers, to put a baseball in or a golf ball. And hot glue will not mess up your relics because it comes right off if you mess up. And it's a new thing I started where I'm actually displaying my stuff in these little cases like that. What do you think of that? Is that pretty cool? That all came from the same location.
Yeah. It's like a terrarium.
They won't fall. They don't fall out because they're, like I said, the hot glue is safe for the relic because it just, if you want to take it off, it flicks right off. It doesn't even damage it at all.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Right there in the front, that bullet right there is a Confederate Gardner bullet. See how it's all cut up and like a squared off shape? Well, guess what they cut? He wrote 7th Infantry Virginia on that bullet at the top.
Wow, that's awesome.
So I was able to identify the camp, and that pocket knife came from that camp. So all this came from that same spot, and I thought it'd be kind of a neat idea to keep it together. And like I said, the glue does not hurt it. I don't want people thinking, "Oh, why would you do that?" But it literally comes right off. It doesn't even hurt the relic at all.
Yeah,
because once hot glue hardens, it gets real. It breaks apart.
That's real neat. I would,
but
maybe
it's enough to hold. It's enough to hold it to where it doesn't fall around in there.
Is that the same infantry button as this one?
No, that's a different one.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's a different one.
Put black felt on the bottom of that case.
I was gonna do that after. That's weird. He says that because I was gonna. Now I'm like, do I feel like taking it back apart and doing it again? I was like, I was thinking about that.
Put it on the outside.
Put it on the bottom.
Yeah, what I would have done, Mike, not only would I have put in something on the bottom, but I would have gotten like a color photograph and put it on the inside and wrapped it so it's like a whole diorama.
That's a great idea, Jason. I might do that.
I do that. My son collects action figures, and he does got these big display cases with lights, and we put these action figures, and we do the same thing. We glue like a scenery around it so that each shelf looks like a whole diorama.
I got something else to show you here too. I did with another one. I'm starting to get into this colonial stuff because I find a lot of Civil War stuff, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna start hunting some colonial house sites. This is another idea I did. If you look inside there, that is a colonial shoe buckle there in the back.
Yeah, it sure is.
And I decided to display it the same way. See, I just put a little bit of glue drop on there, and it, like I said, it don't hurt it. Those buttons in that KG was found with it, so I kept it together that way.
They're easy to stack too. It's a good idea because you can stack them, you can display them.
I'm stacking them in my case, and then this is one that Patrick, if he's still in the chat, will recognize. He had an event in Carlisle, Pennsylvania.
Ooh,
from Stories from the Signal. Guys, that is probably early 1700s. Maybe, I think Patrick said it might be late 16, early 17, somewhere around there, 1720. That is a buttstock off of a pistol. Wow. That's the pommel piece.
Can I see it from the bottom? Wow, look at that. I never would have knew that. Now
that's
that you
exactly
mention it, I can see it, but if I dug that, I wouldn't have known what that was.
If you look at the top, you see the little hole. That would have been like a little square head nail that would have attached it into the pommel of the gun, the butt, the
like
pistol.
I'm picturing like an old, like a blunderbuss type of a pistol, like a big,
and they call that, Patrick did a video on that for his channel, and they call that the grotesque mask. Looks like a lion's head almost.
Right.
And forgive me, Mike, Patrick is Stories from the Signal?
Correct.
I want to give him a shout out if he's got a video on it, because that is beautiful. And the patina is stunning on that piece.
Yeah, and that's the thing I've learned, especially from Chig explaining things to me. If you guys find anything copper, you guys know for sure, never use water to clean copper coins or anything like this, because what you want is you want that patina to stay on there. I use a toothbrush, a toothpick, or my fingernails, and this sounds disgusting, but Chig taught me, you take a little bit of grease from your face and just wipe it on there, and it pops the detail.
Yeah, we use it a lot. We use it from our forehead. I'm Italian. I'm really greasy. So same principle, though.
Yeah.
That's really cool, man. Yeah. That's a nice, innovative idea to display your things. I like that.
And then, like, here's one I did. This is a golf ball size container, but I just put a bullet in there. That's an Confederate infantry button, a script I, with a Gardner bullet. And the reason I did that was because, that's a J-hook in the back from the knapsack, from the soldier's knapsack. So I put all that together because it was found in the same location. But it's kind of neat because that was what an infantry soldier would have had. That would have been his knapsack hook, his infantry button, and his bullet. So that's why I put it together like that.
Nice. There's a store out by you. I'm sure you're familiar with it. I think it's called the Union Drummer Boy.
Yeah, that's that's funny. Brendan. He's a good friend of mine. That's Brendan. Yeah.
Does he sell items like that in like a display that would have multiple pieces? Because it just tells such a better story than.
No, he's never. He usually just sells like the regular Riker cases, that you put your stuff like this
they're
in.
not bad. They're okay, but yours is so much more 3-dimensional. You could see it from all sides. It's a really good way to sell things.
I may have to mention something to him about that. I'm getting these at Hobby Lobby for like $1.50. They're not real expensive. I get them as a Hobby Lobby. So
what's that other stuff like rubber cement, Rich? If you didn't want to use hot glue, just put a dab of rubber cement and then stick it in there. If you
just don't use something.
I always burn myself.
Don't use it. Yeah, that hot glue burns my fingers, but you don't want to use.
Always burn.
You don't want to use anything permanent. Then I came up with the idea the other day. I found this. It's a skull flask, and
look at that.
I'm going to fill it with Civil War bullets. That's what I've started so far.
Did you know that? Did you know that Dan Aykroyd owns that Skull Vodka company?
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he is.
You can still buy that bottle in the store?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep. Dan Aykroyd.
I didn't know that.
I'm going to fill it with all the 3-ringers I found.
Well, you will eventually.
You fill it with musket balls.
Maybe I'll get you down this way sometime, Jason, and
I'll get one eventually. It'll be that much sweeter,
Check this out, guys. I hate to keep showing you stuff, but the guy that's in the chat, the Spectre and the Detector, he took me down to a field down there with him and Mike, his buddy Mike Moneypenny, and I found a bullet that day. And I wanted to leave it in the dirt that I found it in. So I coated the dirt with Elmer's clear school glue, left the bullet in the dirt I found it in, and then I put it in this little box. Isn't that cool?
That's cool.
Yeah.
I saw someone else did that recently too with a find. I can't remember who it was, but they kept.
I think that was Riley that did that.
Maybe it was. I thought that was a really cool idea to leave it in the dirt clump, Doug. We should do that with something.
Yeah.
Maybe your first flying eagle, Doug, if you ever find one.
Or your first 3-ringer.
Something historic like that. Maybe Lynn's first coin. She hasn't found a coin yet.
Yeah, she will get excited. I tend to get a little bit excited when people find stuff. That's one reason I think Chig lets me hunt with him, because I kind of I get really excited when I find stuff.
Yeah, but you're preaching to the choir, man.
You guys do too. Then I guess I get kind of crazy sometimes.
Sometimes I think Jason gets more excited than I do. The thing.
The day it starts to not be exciting is the day that I know I'm not like in the hobby anymore. It's always love
exciting.
Exactly.
I still love it. It's the hair on my arm sticks up, whether I found it or Charlie or Rich or Doug or Lynn or anyone I'm with, to see it come out of the ground. And I try to get the person more psyched up if they're not, because I just think it's amazing when you think, it sounds so cliche, but the person that held it last, was 10 generations ago. Like, if that person got plopped into today's world and they looked around at how much we've changed, it's just so awe-inspiring. Yeah,
that's something I think about. It's neat to think that like this KG2 I found, it laid there for all that time as the world changed around it, and that's I want to show everybody this. Maybe they'll be able to tell us what it is. The site that I found the Colonial shoe buckle and the KG, and I even found a wedding band there recently too, an old copper one. I found this there, and nobody seems to know what it is.
I think it's a necklace, just like the band on it looks. Lynn, it looks like the necklaces you make a little bit.
Yeah, kind of.
Well, someone said it could be, since I'm finding Colonial there. What do you guys think about it being a horse bit chain, like a bridle chain? They had that chain at the front of the bridle of the bit.
Is it
looks
too
a little
delicate?
dainty though.
No, it's brass. It's brass.
It is, then. Other people are saying a chin chain from a horse bridle. Maybe they're right. It looks.
Our ski searcher said pocket watch chain, but I think it's too bulky for that.
I think it's too bulky for a pocket watch. I would have thought maybe like a large necklace, but maybe for a horse, it just looks like it would break. I mean, horses are powerful.
I think it's a horse bit chain, maybe, but
what do you think, Lynn?
Yeah.
They wouldn't have made, I don't think, a necklace like that with a big ring on the end.
The ring, I didn't notice it at first because his thumb was covering it.
It would have probably been more utilitarian.
Charlie, you're a farmer. Do you think possible horse bridle?
I would say so. Yeah,
there you
I
go.
would say
There you
so,
go.
yeah.
Take that to the bank.
Some of them aren't really that thick. That looks like it would be, yes, from what I've seen already.
All right, let's go to our next thing, Jason. Everybody, this is my oldest coin. I want to hear everybody else's oldest coin. This is a 1722 half real.
I don't want to brag, but every one of us in this room beat you.
What do you got?
Except me.
And we all beat you just this past winter.
Oh, it's just recent. Yeah, that's my oldest coin, 1722. I mean, I was pretty excited. What's your guys' oldest?
We hit
Doug?
a field earlier this winter, back in January, February, and
Yeah.
all four of us found hammered silver from the 1600s. We each found one. It was just an anomaly of a field that we found the most amazing and the oldest things we've ever found. And the disperse of these hammered coins, you couldn't have written it better, because every one of us found one. So it wasn't like Rich found 5 and the rest of us got skunked. Like, I found one, Rich, Doug, Charlie, and our buddy Matt, who's not here. All 5 of us found hammered silver from the 1600s, which I think are all of our oldest coins. Maybe not Charlie, because he's hunted overseas, but on America. Oh, no. In that same field, Charlie found a coin from 200 AD.
Jeez.
Charlie found a hammered Roman coin.
I saw that on Facebook. Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe that.
In New Jersey.
That was insane.
A hammered Roman coin from like 270 AD in New Jersey.
You know,
I forgot about that.
When I found that coin, I wasn't going to send anything to anybody because I just got back from England, and they would have thought he brought that back and he planted it. But it was remarkable to find that coin there.
And when I put the video out, I was nervous. Like you said, people out there are skeptical. And I was nervous that, people are going to think Charlie planted this. And then luckily, I probably had 30 guys and women. I don't mean guys like men, but 30 other detectorists that all reached out to me from the New England area and said they also found hammered Roman on U.S. soil. So for whatever reason, whether they were a coin collector or if they came over in a ship ballast or whatever the scenario.
A lot, like a real lot.
Yeah, there's been a lot of them found over here for whatever reason.
And I'm glad you. Go ahead, Rich.
Field, at the Cobb Field, we found the hammered cobs and the groats, but I found a French liard from 1653 to 55.
Oh my goodness!
That's right. Yeah, you did. I forgot about that. Yeah, so the cob wasn't even your oldest coin.
No, but the groat, the one I found that's the same as Charlie's, is possibly 1630s.
Oh, it could be that old.
Yeah.
So, but we've all gotten 1600s, which, in America is no easy task. Like I'm super proud that we've all gotten 1600s in America, because some people hunt their whole lives and, even on the East Coast, and don't get 16s. That's a real.
I'm happy to get a 1722. I know that's not that old, but I was happy.
Well, I didn't even think. I mean, I knew about William and Mary's,
Yeah.
But I didn't think it wasn't even on our minds. Like,
See, I'm not
to find those.
I'm not as knowledgeable on that colonial stuff is not my forte. I don't know it as much. I get into that stuff and I'm like, I don't know anything about it. I don't know. I know a little bit, but not much.
Well, the William and Mary and the William III, which are like late 1690s,
I've heard of that.
Still circulating and legal tender up until the late 1850s. So even though they were 150 years old, they were still in circulation. That's why when we find them, they're often really worn and really slick, because they were being carried around for 150 years when they were lost.
Yeah.
But we do find, I don't want to say a lot, but if we find a large cent, there's a good chance it could be a 1600s William III.
Big
Do you
good
think-
super chat, Jay.
Oh, Michelle, how I see it. I like the
That's
name.
Michael.
Michael. I'm not Michelle.
Michael.
How many coins have you found in a spill? Oh, I'll
Oh,
go
that's a good question.
I won't count modern pennies. We'll say something at least older, even wheat
Okay.
pennies. I'll let you go first, Mike, since you're the guest.
Oh, me? I've probably found this was an unusual one too because I found some wheat. They're nothing that old. I mean, there was a Mercury dime, a few Wheaties, and then what was weird was there was an actual couple older Canadian pennies, and there was like 5, so it wasn't a lot, but I found 5 of them. One 1940s Mercury dime and a few Wheaties, and then that Canadian penny. But I have found. Well, I guess I can't say that now. I guess I have found bullet spills before. I guess that's kind of cool, but I haven't.
Not a coin.
Anyway,
though. That's cool. Doug,
Yeah,
what was do you know, Doug, offhand, your biggest coin spill? Something,
Yeah,
besides
you were
modern.
with me, but it was modern dimes. It was a whole roll of modern dimes.
I remember that. Yeah. I never put that video out because we didn't find a whole lot that day. But yeah, Doug dug a hole. There must have been 30 dimes in this hole. And I said, Doug, there must have been a roll. So he kept hunting, and at the end of
we had the whole 40.
All 50 of them he got.
50.
That's crazy.
Right.
But they were all clad, but still it was cool.
Okay. Yeah, but
Carter,
still.
do you have a coin spill that you remember?
3 Indians. That's it. 3 Indian
All right,
pennies.
that's still pretty good.
That's
in the
cool.
same
That was
hole.
cool.
I think I was there. I want to say, was that at Yard Coins?
Yes.
I was there. I was next to you. I remember.
Yeah.
Has
a great place.
anybody seen the one of Bo's Chig's old videos where he found all those coins?
Yes.
I think everybody saw that video.
Yes.
Yeah, where he pulled out the handfuls of 8 reals and cat busts. And
The first time I was over at his house, he showed that to me, and he couldn't find them, guys. He could not find them. He's like, I don't remember where I put them exactly. So we're walking around in the garage, in the basement. We finally find him in a file cabinet, and he handed it to me in this bag. And when I caught it, I'm like, oh my God, that's coins. So he lays them out on the table. It was almost like, oh my goodness. I mean, it's insane.
yeah,
we get excited when we find a 1 real or a 2 real. I mean, there was like some 8 reals in that set. It's like insane.
Yeah,
they were all big silvers.
Yeah, they were all 8 and cat busts, and not only big but old. That was Did he ever take you to that spot, Mike?
What's that? No, I'm not the type of guy to ask. I don't ask. That's one thing I'm real respectful. If someone finds something, I'm not. That's the other thing. I've had people with just this gun I found and stuff. I've had people constantly bugging me like, "Where'd you?" I'm not. It's that's kind of, you don't do that.
I didn't know if he ever said, "Hey, if you don't have anywhere to go, hey, I got a spot."
He said he does go back there every spring, and he still looks, and he ain't finding anything anymore. So.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those places that you almost have to go back once a year just because if you missed one, it's an amazing coin. If you missed just one.
Well, he probably did. I mean, with flooding and stuff, but I asked him what he thinks happened, and he thinks that maybe somebody was crossing there on a horse. Maybe they had they would carry their coins on the side of a bag, and the bag fell off and fell in the water. Or
maybe the
who
bag
knows?
hit a nail sticking out of a post and ripped, and they just spilled out.
It's an amazing. It's, as far as I'm concerned, that's probably got to be like a top 10 thing in America that was found. I mean, it's just incredible.
That's pretty amazing. We know a guy. Doug mentioned him earlier, Plugmaster Ford. That
I think I've heard. Yeah.
He found a spill of, no lie, maybe, I don't know, Doug, 3,000-4,000 silver coins.
Yeah, well, actually, Wes found.
Well, yeah, Wes found it, but I'm saying it was Plugmaster did all the videos on it,
and then of course he invited Jeff down, and he must have gotten a dozen videos out of that.
Yeah,
but,
wow.
Yeah, they were stored in jars in a house, and they knocked the house down and spread it with a dozer. So these coins that were in jars got spread over, I don't know, maybe a 40-yard area. They actually went into this stranger's backyard with a backhoe and dug up his backyard to retrieve what turned out to be thousands of silver coins.
Yeah.
I got something that I found in a field here in Pennsylvania that no one has ever been able to identify. And I found it when I was with Patrick from Stories from the Signal here, and it was in Chambersburg. It's when I scan it with my Google search, it says it's Greek. It's the size of about, it's a little smaller than a large cent, but it looks ancient to me.
Yes.
What's the back look like?
I've seen
Charlie,
that before.
Have you seen me post that before?
No, I've just seen that.
The back is reliefed.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the front, it's some kind of metal. It's old. I mean, everything I found in the field was like 1700s.
And I'm trying to gather the scale of it. Is that like the size of a $50
or a penny?
Well, this is a barber $50 I found in the river, so you can do size.
Oh, so maybe a size of a quarter.
It's bigger than a quarter. It's a little smaller than a large cent.
Okay.
But it's not like, see there, you can see about how big it is in my hand there. It's not.
It doesn't even look like a coin when you turn it sideways. It looks thin, like it's not a
no,
coin.
it's not. You cannot bend it. It's tough as a large cent. When you drop it, it's it's weird. But
it looks like a medallion or something.
Possibly. Yeah, I would almost think like a medallion, but the inside, is it just a recess of the outside image?
Correct.
That's weird.
Wow.
Yeah, that is weird.
Nobody. I've sent this to some universities. They said it looks, the patina, it's old. They're guessing a couple hundred years old, but they don't know what it is.
It definitely looks old. I can't say if it's thousands of years old, but it definitely looks like it's at least a couple hundred years old.
Is that Latin around the?
No,
the
it's
edge?
Greek.
It's
Greek. Yeah, they said it's definitely Greek.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wish I could. I mean, it's rare. I just don't know.
Recess.
It has Roman numeral. There's a Roman numeral below the neck, and I can't make it out. It's like an X. And
does it look like from the back? I can't see the fine work. Does it look like it could have been double-sided, like it was a two-piece?
Right.
Stick?
I don't know. That's a good observation.
I'm looking at the top of the head. Is it a bald head?
Is it what?
It looks like it's wearing
See, I'm thinking of a monk. Does that look like a monk?
No, it's just his hair.
I'm thinking maybe Greek Orthodox, something with Greek Orthodox or something, religious medallion of some sort. I don't know.
To me,
that's
it looks
just
like
hair at the top.
Yeah, to me, it looks like it would be like an Augustus kind of guy. I don't know. That's a weird mystery one.
Weird but cool.
There was
when I find out what it is, I'll make a video. Hopefully, that'd be a good video because I don't know what it is and I want to find out.
Yeah, there's some pieces that you'll look at and you'll be like, man, someone's going to know what this is, and then no one does. It's just one of those oddball pieces.
Yeah, Charles has tried to help me out. That he says maybe a Greek religious token, a bridal rosette. I've considered that. I don't think it's that.
Too small.
Right.
Yeah, it's too small for that. Now, bridal rosette would have had lead back, possibly. Maybe this had a lead back. I don't know.
It looks small for a rosette, also, though.
Yeah, I think it's something too small for that. But yeah, it's.
I got a piece once, Charlie. Do you remember? It was a brass thing, a little bigger than that, recessed of a guy's face, and it turns out that it was on an old sewing machine, like on the.
That's right.
On the base.
Yes.
It was similar to that.
Oh, that's another possibility.
I mean, it wasn't a coin, is what I was saying. It was like an adornment on something else. And stuck off in three dimensions like that.
You found it.
I don't think it's
surprised that you weren't able to get a Google reverse lookup because there's so much detail visible.
When I do Google reverse lookup, it comes up Greek coin. So,
but nothing specific.
No, it's not a Greek coin. It can't be. It's just, it's not, it's something different. I don't know what it is, but like I said, we found that's the same.
I would research Greek coins though, because it may have been made
in the likeliness of.
in the likeness of a
Yeah,
Greek
it
coin.
could have been something that was made in the likeness of an old Greek. I found one. You ever see that famous Greek coin, Rich, with like that owl on it, and it's like kind of like slightly ovular shaped. Well, I found one once in a farm field, and I knew it wasn't 2,000 years old. It was something more modern, but made in the likeliness of this famous Greek thing. Could be something like that.
Yeah, I would do a rubbing of it and see if you can make out what it says on there, or get.
I could almost read it from the picture. I don't even know if he needs to do a rubbing.
Well, yeah, but it's not in English.
Well, I'm saying I don't know if a rubbing would give any. Whoops, hold on, wrong button.
Oh yeah, you'll see more detail.
Yeah, I mean, I could almost read it if I knew how to read Latin or whatever it is.
Figure out what that says, and I would research coins, even though we know it's not a coin. It was made to look like one, possibly.
Yeah, it's cool. It's unique. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was translated, Jay. But the guy told me what it said, and now it slips my mind right now. I'm sorry, I can't remember what he said. It said that's kind of bad. But yeah. Anyway, that was the same field that this bicycle bell came out of. Look at the detail on that.
Pretty thing. One, yeah. Look at that one.
Wow.
We find a good amount of them, but usually ours are plain, although we have found a couple with eagles on them, but yours is really decorative.
I'd guess phone bell if it weren't for the bicycle wheel in the middle of it.
Yeah, this came off of I actually know another guy who found one, and we did some research. This came off of one of them high wheelers that had the big wheel on the front.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah. That's cool.
And then what's cool,
like Victorian,
you can still, can you all hear that?
Oh, talking about bells, I got to show this real fast.
Yeah, go ahead, Jason.
Interesting segue, I guess, but I promised the guy I would do it. I got in the mail. You know, we all find a lot of colonial stuff, and we love the colonial crodal bells. Have you ever found one of those before, Mike?
Yeah, I've got a whole pile of them over here.
Yeah, same. Oh, I have a lot of them. And
is that a Conestoga bell, Jason?
It's the shape. Let me see.
I found that up in Berks County.
Yeah, I can even see the shank on it.
Yep.
That's the shape of one. Yep.
Okay. That's what I thought. Anyway, go ahead. I thought I'd ask real quick.
But I put a picture up on Facebook earlier, or last week rather, of two colonial crodal bells. And a woman who I didn't even know saw the picture and mailed me this.
Oh, nice.
It's the whole leather strap of 15 graduated crodal bells.
Oh, my goodness.
It's got the pedals on there, if you can see it.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to ring it in unison because going down the road with this over your horse in the carriage, this is the racket that you would have made. The entire trip, you couldn't stop it. This is what you did.
You know why we find so many crodal bells?
You would have gone mad.
Yeah, because people annoy themselves with them and just throw them out.
I annoyed you. I rang it for 3 seconds. I annoyed you. Imagine that on your horse, and for maybe a whole day's journey, you can't stop it. But that was part of the.
I wouldn't have been able to do it.
But I want to thank her real fast. Her name was Terry. I can't tell you how appreciative I am of that leather strap. So thank you.
I got to mention something, Jason. I have read that was also for safety, so people could hear you.
Well, that's what
have you heard that?
Like car horns. They'd know you're coming.
Yeah, most roads were single lane. So
yeah, and that your carriage could be going fast, and you wanted to let people know that you were either going down the road or traveling through their property or not getting, whatever the reason. But I had no idea because we only find one here, one there, and they ring and it's exciting. But to hear 15 graduated, so they all sound different, and then to hear them ring in unison like that, it's deafening. It gives me a whole appreciation of that person, that carriage rider.
Is that an actual old set right there, Jason? Is that an old set?
It's not colonial. It's probably turn of the century, maybe late 18s, early 1900s. They're brass, but it does have the one throat. If you can see the single throat, it does have the pedals. They are numbered. But they're brass, and the way the shanks are put on them, I can tell that they're not super old, but they're probably late 18, early 1900s.
That's probably a $275 set, Jason. Those are very collectible.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Not only did she send it to me, which I was incredibly grateful from a stranger, but it has value. She could have sold it on Facebook or whatever, you know. So,
yeah, those are very collectible.
Yeah, I was really flattered and honored that she sent it to me, and that's going to be loved until my last day on this earth.
Lynn, you have a bunch of those, right, Lynn?
I have the early ones, the real old ones.
Do you have the complete, or yours graduated? I don't remember. Are they all the same size?
Yeah, they're both. I have both.
Oh, you have both? All right.
And what does a string like that cost?
Oh.
Well, hers are colonial. Hers are probably much more valuable.
Yeah. You know, I haven't bought any. I kind of inherited those, so I really don't know.
They're valuable.
Yeah.
I mean,
if I saw that at the antique store for $100, I probably would have bought it.
Yeah.
Now, Jason, I'll tell you, I've had single ones. I've sold them for $40 for one bell before, just for one. So
I mean, I'm sure that it has some value, and that's why, you know, part of the reason why I was so flattered, because it's not like she sent me like some $2 piece of junk. You know, she sent me something that had some value, but I'll never sell it. But I'm saying she could have. So it's just sometimes this community we're part of is just it's so surprising that people care enough. She just saw that I appreciated bells and was nice enough to send it to me.
Bells, there's somebody. Bells is in the chat.
That bell. Well, that Bells is our friend. It wasn't her, but yeah, that's our friend Bells. Where's she from?
I've met them. I think I met them at a hunt before. Quote me if I'm wrong, Bells, but I've met them before, I think.
You would know Bells. Bells, when she smiles, her smile lights up the room.
Yeah.
Like she's one of those
I think
faces.
it was.
Doug, what's her husband's name? I always forget her husband's name.
Mike.
Mike, that's right.
Yeah, I think I met them somewhere.
Oh, she's a sweetheart. We saw her in Arkansas, but only for a hot minute. And like I told you, like at the hustle and bustle of events, especially a big event, as much as I want to go around and talk to everybody, you know, everyone's.
Oh, I know what you mean, Jason. That last one I went to is like, I like to talk to people, but I like to get off on myself a little bit too sometimes. So I had to, but yeah,
it's tough. I mean, there's just so many people, but it's so nice to be able to catch up and see everybody.
Yeah,
and,
it is.
So yeah, we see Bells usually at the Arkansas. Bell says, yes, she met you at Digstock. I'm guessing
That's what I thought. I remember that, Bells. Yeah, now I do. Yep, I remember that.
Yeah, 5 Mile Relic Hunter is in the chat. He was down at Arkansas too.
Yep.
He said I should strap the bells around my neck like Rambo, like Rambo.
Like the cartridges.
You know, like he has the cartridge, the bullets.
Oh, yeah, like he's got the.
Yeah.
Listen, they're heavy. For me to carry them around all day would be backbreaking. That thing's got to probably weigh 20 pounds. So, all right, listen, it's getting late. I want to try to wrap this up, Mike. We've been on for 2 hours, and I appreciate your time.
That's okay. Yeah, I got to get my kids to bed.
I know. It goes by quick. Doug, is there any last-minute things you wanted to say to our new buddy Mike, who hey, one day I'd like to get together and hunt with him?
Well, we'll do a swap. He brings us down for some Civil War activity, and we'll bring him up here for.
Oh, there we go. That's a good deal.
And I talked to Jake in at Kadoha, and he wants to come up and hunt colonial. So maybe the two of them can come up together.
Yeah, maybe we'll do something like that. Listen, tell Trig, none of us want to be in caves.
Exactly.
I'll do it.
Well, Rich might, but me, Charlie, and Doug are not built for cave climbing. Rich,
That's
I mean,
funny.
Lynn
Yeah,
might
we'll
too.
have
Who
to.
knows? I don't know how crazy
I'll
Lynn
talk.
is.
I might be seeing him Saturday. I don't know what we're doing. I'm supposed to go on another hunt with him, but I'll mention to him
Well, tell him we said
like I said.
hello, if nothing more. He
Oh
was
yeah,
one of the. He might have
I
been the
told him
first
I was.
guest that I had on this quarter after show. Was he the first guest we had, Rich?
Second, I believe.
I don't
Was
think it was
Dad the first one?
I think.
I don't remember, but he was the first one, and he didn't know me from Adam, so it was nice that he came on. So I have a lot of appreciation for the guy for starting whatever this has become.
Yeah, I think
I
some
mean,
of these people we'll have to have on again, including you, Mike, because we have so many more questions, things that we didn't get to. And
It does. It
yeah,
goes
I
by
appreciate.
quick. You don't even realize it.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys. My wife's going to come in here and say, "What in the world do you have all these relics laying around the room for now?"
Because you're a metal detectorist.
Yeah, I got it. I'm very weird about my stuff. I've got everything. I even GPS. I have numbers for my finds. I actually can type it in on a computer and it'll tell me exactly where I found it. That's how picky I am about it. So
I used to
I
be
did.
that way, and then my collection got so big. Like I told you, I was taking pictures for this Facebook thing I do now. So I'm going through my display cases, pulling out like the cool pieces, and I pulled out this piece yesterday. I don't want to say what it is because I'm going to put some pictures of it up, but for the life of me, I don't remember finding it. So I'm like, I don't remember the context, when I found it, where I found, if I found it, maybe someone mailed it to me. I don't remember.
Pull it out of my bag.
No, you didn't find it either. I'll show it to you off air, but I've gotten so much stuff now that there's stuff I don't remember where it came from. And I never thought I would get to that point.
Yeah, it gets that way sometimes. I mean, I don't have like some of my KGs and stuff. I don't keep track of that, but like this historical stuff, the Civil War stuff, and the Rev War stuff, and things like that. I think it's important to keep track of that. Well,
the coins are almost impossible unless it's like
something
unique.
And
now, if I find a coin in a Civil War camp, I actually designate that as a Civil War find because it was in the camp.
You might even consider it a relic because of the context where you found it.
Right, exactly.
But Doug,
that's
ready to wind it up. Doug, do you have any questions for Mike before we cut him loose?
No.
Yeah, I can talk for hours, so I'm sorry.
Oh no, us too. That's why I said we'll have to have you back on again because we had a bunch of questions. I don't know if we even got to one of them. Sometimes it just goes. I mean, it just goes.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not your fault. I'm saying that when you're just in good conversation, that's even better. The questions are only for if the conversation isn't flowing. So it's a good thing that not to get to them all. Charlie, any last minute questions, comments for Mike?
I really enjoyed Mike's passion for the Civil War digging that he does out where he lives.
Well, thanks, Charlie. I appreciate that.
I actually had a permission out there at a farm for the last couple of years, and I just didn't get a chance to get out there yet. So maybe if I make another phone call, maybe we can get together.
Definitely.
Pittsburgh there.
I would love to.
I know Jason.
Michael, how I see it, another super chat. You guys need to come to Chattanooga, Tennessee sometime. Thank you, Michael.
We'll get on the Chattanooga choo-choo.
That's right. And Riley lives down there. We've always wanted to get down there. So you might actually get your wish, Michael. We'll definitely keep
he's out.
And thank you for the
he's out. I think he's out near Memphis, isn't he?
Yep.
Riley is, but he goes throughout the state. But I think he's like an hour south of Memphis, I believe. I might be wrong.
My daughter's on vacation there right now.
In Memphis?
Yes. Yeah.
Riley said that Memphis itself is a pretty rough area, like the city of Memphis.
Yeah, well,
Jason, let me ask you this: would you be up for water hunting in the summer?
Absolutely.
Well, I would be. We've only tried it once as a group, and it was an epic mess because we didn't know what we were doing.
More comical than anything else.
Yeah, because until you do it, like you don't realize
it's tough.
Yeah, it's just a different mind. Like you have to have different type of gear. You're going to get wet. Like my cameras, I thought I'd keep them up high, But when you reach down to the water, your head's going under, and you don't realize. You know, like, so there's a different. But I would definitely do it. We just have to.
I caught more crayfish than I found fines.
Yeah,
that's funny.
It is different. But no, Rich found a copper, I believe, didn't you, Rich?
Yeah, it was the
KG.
Yep. And I knew it as soon as I heard it because all the other signals we were getting were just.
I remember I put a GoPro on a stick, and Lynn and I were just filming crawfish all day.
For hours.
For hours filming crawfish.
Abnormally big crawfish there, though.
I have to agree with Mike. There's treasures in these waters. Like where I live, there's treasures. Rich was here one day with me. We just walked in the creek, and he found something great, right? Shoe buckle.
A shoe buckle. Yeah, I found a shoe buckle. And
well, what's great about the water, Charlie, is, you know, on a field or a yard, if someone drops something, they might bend down and pick it up if they saw it. But if you drop it in the water, it's just gone.
Right.
So it probably collects so much more stuff that the person who lost it wasn't able to recover it.
They were able to recover, yeah.
And then with streams and moving water, it can disperse it around. And if you know where to hunt, like on the bends and whatnot, where it might collect, there's an art form to it. You know, there's some skill involved in finding the right spot to hunt.
Where I'm at, there's several forts where they cross, and that's where I would start first.
That's where we need to go, Charlie, especially with the water level.
The water level is very low right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Doug had us doing it once, but we were in a puddle in the street, and we didn't find anything.
And that was cool. That's a cool spot I'd go back to, Charlie. It was behind in the creek behind one of it was a Daniel Boone's family member's house.
Oh yes, yeah.
Oh, really?
In the creek behind there, picking up old pottery and redware. And
Rich, there's a creek that goes right through our cob field. Don't forget too.
Yeah,
that's probably low also right now.
Oh man, there's the place if we want to get.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's where I would go. Number one.
Yeah.
Hey,
anyway,
Charlie.
Mike, if
that's,
I can get
that's how I found that $50. I was in the woods going number one.
And,
remind me not to walk there.
I thought that was a bear. It was you.
Hey, Charlie. I just want to mention something. Charlie, Charles is in the chat, and he said he found a whistle with you in a river or something.
Yes, Charles and I actually he called me up one time, and we did a creek. It was the first time that I ever did a creek, and we actually did well.
I thought one of you guys found a shoe buckle.
Well, that was with Rich.
I did. Me and Charlie.
Teresa,
I thought when you went with Charles Schaefer, one of you guys found a shoe buckle. Maybe I'm mistaken.
I think you're mistaken with that, but we found quite a few neat things. We really did.
Well, we'll have to look into that. But yeah, it's something that's on our radar. We just haven't really done it yet. We would almost need a guide to help us the first time.
Well, let's look at this summer. Maybe I'll get with Bo or Chig. I know you don't know him as Bo, but I call him Bo. Chig, and maybe this summer we'll plan something. Maybe you got my number now, so
you got my number, and
hey, I mean, I wouldn't mind. I would like to get with you guys before, like in the winter too. I'm working on some.
It's farm field season now, so you guys.
I know
it'd be easy to come up,
Yeah, we've got a lot of colonial stuff, but not a lot of Civil War. So it'd be a nice trade-off for each of us to get on something.
Yeah.
With the dry spell we're having right now, all the crops are in. This is the earliest that the crops have been harvested.
The beans they're
all
out.
done. Everything's
Do
done.
you guys have problems up there though? What I'm having problems with here is I get permissions, but here they're planting this grassy filler stuff for the winter, and then they won't let me go.
Well,
most of them still let us.
Yeah, they let us usually.
Some do here and some don't. It's hit or miss.
Dry. That's a cover crop.
Yeah.
That doesn't hurt anything.
Yep.
That's why I have some that say go ahead, and you got to respect the ones that say no. You don't want to.
Exactly.
It depends if it's just a cover crop or if they're going to grow it out for hay or grain. Then sometimes they don't want people digging in it. But if it's just a cover crop, they usually don't care.
No.
I'll tell you what, it ain't growing very well right now. They planted some here and it hasn't even sprouted. There's no, the ground dries. And
Water.
Yeah, Sunday night we're supposed to get rain, maybe. So
Yeah.
I'm hearing that. I kind of hope we do because it needs it.
yeah.
But,
It won't
well,
be
listen,
enough.
Jason, I gotta go to the restroom, buddy.
All right, you go take care of business, Mike. Thank you very much for joining us, and I'll be in touch for sure. We'll get together, brother.
Good
All
to
right,
see
y'all
you.
have a good night. Take care.
All right, take it easy, man.
Yeah, nice to meet you guys.
All right,
Nice
have a
to
good
meet
one,
you,
brother.
Mike.
Yeah.
Bye. Hey, guy, Doug, what do you think of that? Good guy. Nice to meet new friends. Nice guy.
I consider this as much networking as it is entertaining, and learning about each other.
Because he happens to live close by, but
Yeah.
good dude. Like I said, it's nice to meet because I didn't really know Mike. I knew of him. It's nice to meet new people, and what better way than to just throw him live in whatever this little shindig is.
Yeah, yep.
So pretty good, Doug. What'd you think of my Crotal bells? Is that exciting or what?
I think that's great. I wish she had saw me holding 2 Crotal bells.
Oh, see, there it is. There it is.
I'm jealous.
Well, you've gotten some flying eagles mailed to you. I mean,
Yeah.
You've gotten some good.
Nothing
stuff.
like finding your own, though.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't count this as.
How do you know
my
what that's
own.
like?
What's that?
I finding one.
Yeah, he's just trying to imagine what it would be like. It's got to be grandiose.
Yes.
It will be when that day comes.
Hey, we all have that one thing. I haven't found a 3-ringer. You didn't find a trime. I just found out that Charlie.
Well, I haven't found a lot. There's a lot of things.
As a matter of fact,
what's the one find hanging over your head, Charlie? Is there that one thing?
Yeah, Cat Bust Dime.
Well, that's a hard one to find, though.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's a hard one. That's like saying.
So Rich hasn't found any trime. I found 2, but I gave one to Rich to trade for a.
I still can't believe you gave the guy that. That was crazy.
Well,
the guy would have done
What,
it
a
for a
trime?
large cent. He would
I
have did it for a
told-
large cent.
Rich, I told Rich, just give me a piece of silver. It doesn't have to be your first trime, but just keep in mind that
It's got to be your first cap bust half dime.
Will you take 10 silver Washingtons?
Yeah, sure. Rich, you're so tight. You wouldn't give up 1 silver Washington.
I got a lot of silver.
I know you do. I'm with you most of the time when you're
I
finding.
can give you 10.
That's okay.
I'd
rather it be something a little more unique.
Maybe when Rich finds his next seated dime with 2 mint marks on it.
Yeah.
The old
just don't tell anybody. Just hand it to me. And
old double mint mark. That was great. If you guys didn't see the video, Rich found a seated dime, and I said, "Rich, is there a mint mark?" And he goes, he looks at it and he says, "It's got 2 mint marks." And I'm thinking it was double stamped. I'm like, "What 2 mint marks?"
You said
There's
Rich.
a C and another C.
You said, Rich, you're a millionaire if that coin has 2 mint marks. And Carson City.
But he didn't know it existed at the time, and then he finds it, and it was beautiful too, Doug.
But how many Carson cities do you find in this area? Not many.
I think I found 2 in 10 years.
I've got a silver dollar Carson City, but
Night,
Charlie. Yeah, they are. Charles, they are detectors behind me. These are just the.
Where did Charlie go?
Oh, he'll bounce back.
Oh.
Yeah, these are Charles, I probably own 30 metal detectors, most of which are lower end ones. But I keep some in here because it keeps me inspired. This is the room I do all my editing. It's got a lot of my displays, so it's kind of like it's my little man cave kind of a thing. But most of these are not that impressive. A lot of them are like cheapy ones. There's about 15 of them in here, but not a lot of high end. You wouldn't want a lot of them. But all right, Doug, I think we're going to close this out. If Charlie comes back, I'll let him say goodbye. If not, we'll say goodbye.
How many were in the chat tonight?
I didn't see it the whole time.
About 200.
About 200, Doug. So pretty good.
Yeah.
Right now, 130.
And Doug, your brand new laptop worked like a charm. No issues all
did.
day.
No issues other than self-inflicted at the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, you look funny, but I think that's just you.
Your halo is gone. The light that's
only God can fix this.
Yeah, the halo. That's because he's from a different angle now, I think.
Yeah.
The halo is in front of me now.
Yeah, I like the setup though, Doug. It looks good, and it lasted the whole show.
Yeah. Yep.
So listen, before we go, Doug, I'm going to give a shout out up. Small Town Treasure Hunters says, "Good night, guys. Renita is putting me to bed." Is Small Town Treasure Hunters Mitch?
I'm wondering. I see him in that picture there.
I can't see that little icon. Is that you, Mitch? I don't know.
If it is, looks like Mitch on the left.
It might be. We were asking about him earlier. I don't know any other Renita other than Mitch's Renita. So
yeah.
If it is Mitch, we were asking about you. If it's not Mitch, we were still asking about Mitch. I hope you're doing well, man. But what was I saying, Doug?
Something about saying goodnight.
Oh, yeah. We're going to wrap this up. I remember. Doug, do you remember who we're going to have on next Thursday as our guest, keeping to the Civil War theme?
I know you told me, but I forgot. Sorry.
Rich, I don't even know if I told Rich. Rich, do you know who's coming on next week?
No, I don't think you did tell me.
Oh, well, next week, another Civil War expert, I'm going to say, Matt Howell from Gone Digging.
Cool.
Said Matt.
Oh, very good. Organizes hunts, super knowledgeable guy, like a Riley when it comes to Civil War stuff. So I'm really going to pick his brain.
That's what we need, somebody like that to get us.
Because when we get on a Civil War spot for the first time, I want to know what I'm doing. So I'm picking these guys and girls' brains to get this down. Oh, it is Mitch.
Yeah.
Small Town Treasure Hunter. Mitch, I saw your picture. I heard you were in an accident. We were all thinking about you, hoping for a fast recovery. And I'm glad you're even up to come in the chat. But we're all thinking about you, brother.
And we hope that the chat didn't set you back any.
What? What's that mean?
What do you mean? He's getting better, and I hope that the 2 hours he's watched us.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, if he's in the hospital, we're getting him through the day.
His recovery. Okay.
Yeah, because I was trying to. I mean, it's probably been a boring week on TV because not much happened in the world this week, Doug.
No. Let's not get into that.
We're not talking about it, Doug. We're not talking about it. So, all right, we're going to get out of here.
Metal detecting tomorrow.
Yep. Thank you for hold on. Wait, here comes Charlie. Charlie, just in time, we're saying goodbye.
Would you have a potty break?
No. My internet went out.
Oh, okay. Well, we're signing off, Charlie. So I'll give you the first goodbye.
All right. Well, take care, everybody. Have fun.
See you later, Charlie.
Bye-bye.
Stick around.
Thank you for watching,
Charlie. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, stick around,
Okay.
Charlie. Thank you for watching, everybody. We'll see you back next week with Gone Digging Matt Howell for another fun episode. But otherwise, we're out of here. So thanks for watching. Happy hunting. And we'll see you on the next one.
See y'all.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.
Good night.